afterwards, it was almost like an exhale and like, okay, this thing is moving forward now and past all of the. I guess Frank would tell us it was just media generated drama or fan externally generated drama. Is kind of what I gathered after listening to him yesterday. But just having him go back and talk about his entire career as much as he did and how he did it, to me, it does seem like it came pretty close to him not being the South Carolina basketball coach moving forward. Now that's not the case. Transfers are coming in, and Gamecock basketball moves on with Frank Martin rolling into year number 10. What did you make of what you heard yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of it is kind of what I expected to hear. I was interested in basically how he would recap. Let me take that back. In terms of the last month and a half since the season ended, and trying to explain and talk about what occurred from his standpoint, because there's a lot of different variables, a lot of different people involved in the last month and a half. I probably was not as interested in that because I didn't expect Frank to come out and be like, yeah, the people that were trying to handle this did a poor job, and I should have gotten the extension within days, and we should have really had this wrapped up. And I didn't expect that, and you don't expect anybody who's still employed to go into a public setting and throw their boss or their coworkers or whatever you want to label in business or in sports. Frank Martin, Ray Tanner, Bob Caslin. Whatever you want to label them, you don't expect Frank to go in and just throw those guys under the bus and be like, yeah, they did an awful job. I don't know how these guys continue to be employed around here, and they didn't treat me right, but I'm going to coach. So that part didn't intrigue me as much because I just, what do you, if you're upset and you say, well, man, he really didn't tell us anything, what do you think he's going to say? I guess is my point on that. What I was intrigued by is how he was going to talk about the season that was, what he was going to say about it, and then I was intrigued by he's going to talk about how he sees the season that will be. So to me, the most interesting thing that was said yesterday was the Keyshawn Bryant, Jermaine Couisnard information, and it was not so much that he's got a great relationship with him. Again, I don't anticipate him saying, yeah, those guys are awful kids, and we're not going to have them back, and they don't fit with the program. They need to go find somewhere else. But him basically saying, yeah, we expect them back. They're just doing the draft, their due diligence with the draft, which is what A.J. Lawson's done. And we expect both to be back. He said both were working out with the team. That was interesting to me because there's 2 spots left. There's 2 scholarship spots left. And kind of like I told you, you get those 2 guys back. You add Wildens Levesque, Alonzo Frink. Well, we talk about the roster turnover, but then you are returning essentially 4 starters to a team that we're talking about so much turnover. So you're really flipping the bench. He also talked about Seventh Woods and A.J. Lawson. That was the kind of stuff that was very interesting to me.
I hear you. What stood out to me was how he accepted accountability for the poor season and how he put it into perspective, saying that basically it's the only year in his career that he's had a bad year. And then multiple times talking about the boatload of money that the university has paid him, and there's no reason for him to, while not thrilled or it wasn't exactly the contract extension he was looking for, there's no reason for him to complain at this point, being where he is, and really was about as honest as possible about the economic situation out there, talking about while it's been difficult recently with COVID issues, obviously, he thinks 2 years from now it might be the most difficult point from an economic standpoint for athletics departments, and there'll be very few coaches getting paid what he's getting paid. And that's about as honest as you can ask for. And how he assessed his coaching job last year is too honest for us to play on the radio. So it was quite an hour and 15 minutes or so yesterday morning with Frank Martin, kind of summing things up from his perspective and taking on all questions about his perceived level of support, I guess, from the university moving forward, his relationship with Ray Tanner, which he says is as good as it's always been, and then the specific players that you're talking about there, Bill. From a Gamecock baseball standpoint, just rough night all the way around last night against LSU. The the headline on Gamecock Central is Gamecocks taking hot offense down to LSU for 3-game series. And the next headline is Gamecock struggle with runner and scoring position, drop series opener to LSU. I think they were 0 for 8 last night with runners in scoring position. Only had 3 hits, struck out 16 times is the headline there. But we've seen this before on a series opener for Carolina baseball. We've seen it in the last couple of series. The one at Georgia, then at home against Missouri last week, where you lose the series opener and they bounce back and won the next 2 games. LSU will be a different animal. What I saw yesterday was what you were telling us yesterday. Hey, LSU's 3-9 in conference. They played some really good teams, and they are a good team. And they look like a pretty good team last night.
Yeah, we knew that. I mean, again, kind of like you said, we knew going in that is a good baseball team. That don't let the record fool you. That they've lost some games to top 5, top 6 teams throughout the season or throughout SEC play, and they're at home with their back against the wall. They have to have this series. I mean, this is, you feel like for them, if we were doing Baton Rouge sports talk this morning and we're talking about LSU baseball, we're probably still talking about how this is a turning point series for LSU, that you can't fall to 4-11 in conference play. So you've got to win the series. You can't be swept and fall to 3-12 in conference play. So you know that going down. It's 2 really good teams, South Carolina, but that's the part of SEC play. South Carolina's had to do this against Vanderbilt. They've had to do it against Florida. They're going to have to do it in the next several weeks. Let's not defend the South Carolina by saying, hey, man, I don't know. LSU's a really good team. It's okay. It's baseball. South Carolina's got to bounce back tonight. You're right. A lot of strikeouts last night. Have some meetings today, adjust accordingly, and be ready to go tonight.
Bubba not happy on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. I get it after what you saw last night. Baseball team must change their approach, Bubba says. There are not 9 power hitters in the lineup. They must change their approach. Plate, extremely too many strikeouts. They had better start heading to the plate with an old-fashioned singles/doubles approach, or Mark Kingston will be taking his launch angle somewhere else. 6 Bubba, they are the 11th ranked team in the country and went in with an 8-4 conference record, tied for 4th in the conference.
Yeah.
To me, this seems to happen almost after every loss, that you get some really loud critics talking about poor coaching, and then this is a classic line from Frank Martin yesterday. When things get gloom and doom, everything's real loud around here, I've noticed. But when things are going well, it's very quiet. I think it can very much apply to baseball as well. And this is the same team that swept Florida a couple of weeks ago, came back and won 2 out of 3. To me, sometimes it's not an approach thing. It's not that easy, Bubba. Sometimes the other guy's just really, really, really good. And no doubt, 16 strikeouts in a game, too many. For sure. 3 hits is not going to get it done. But it's not always as easy as just, hey, guys, you got to change your approach and stop trying to hit home runs and try to put the ball in play. Sometimes you do try to put the ball in play, and the other guy's really, really good. LSU's got some good guys. Now, their pitching staff didn't come in with a big-time reputation. And the fact that, Carolina got more hits and runs off of Kumar Rocker at Vandy in their series opener than they did last night, surprising for sure. Disappointing. I get it. Frustrating, wherever you want to put it on from the Gamecock perspective. And the adjustments will need to be made. This team has shown, though, I think that it's pretty good at making some offensive adjustments. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, they have 2 games to bounce back, and it's 1 game. If you're, what you would tell Bubba is, all right, let's save that text for Saturday night or Sunday morning, and let's see where they stand. You can't go down there and get swept. I totally agree with that, but it's 1 game, and we do. You said it a while back, and it is the mentality. It's a very true, and Bubba just is like the shining example of the mentality that you brought up one time. It's a football mentality where 1 loss means everything. Well, that's not the case in baseball or basketball. You play 56 games in baseball. You're going to lose a couple. You're going to lose to top 5, top 6 teams, a game or 2 here or there. What you're looking at is the series as a whole. South Carolina lost to Missouri a week ago today. I didn't expect them to go down there and sweep. I agree, some adjustments need to be made at the plate, but let's see if those adjustments get made today and tomorrow, and if South Carolina can bounce back as they've done, honestly, the last 2 series. South Carolina's lost. Remember, they lost the opener against Georgia, lost the opener against Missouri, and they followed that up with 2 wins. This is a different animal. It's a tiger. Huh? Well, I guess it is the same animal, isn't it? Same animal. Tiger. So
different version of the same
different
animal.
version. But yeah, same animal. So, but different. You get the point.
Different. Mike.
Yeah. But no, look, LSU is not Georgia and they're not Missouri, and we should all understand that. They're not those teams. They're better. So it's going to be a much taller task to bounce back and win 2 straight. But certainly this team is capable of doing it.
Well, you can just go back to last week, Missouri, right? They're at the bottom of the SEC East. No one would argue they are anywhere close. They're on the exact end of the spectrum. And you're talking about perennial powerhouse baseball programs in the SEC that LSU is. But Missouri had the Gamecock bats real quiet midway through the series. It was a bottom of the 5th 3-run homer by Brady Allen that really sparked things for Carolina, and then the bats exploded. They go on to score 11 runs in game number 2 of that series and 13 in game number 3. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen against LSU. I'm just saying that's kind of what baseball can be a lot of times. How many double-digit strikeout games this season? Good question, Bubba. We'll try to look that up for you this morning. I would say, hey, Patrick, look that up. That would really
yeah, that's exactly what would
Mark
start
to text that in. Patrick's going to be filling in for Pearson Fowler later on this afternoon, so he will not be gracing us with his NFL draft hot takes this morning, but will be part of the afternoon shows from noon to 4 this afternoon. 803-404-6100 is the number into the program. Good news from a Gamecock perspective as far as the spring game goes. Capacity expanded. I've never said something like this. I guess no, I don't think it ever happened during football season, right? It was just set, right? Time capacity was set at Williams-Brice Stadium. It was never, I don't think, expanded like it's been here for the spring game. Started at 9,000, and now I think it's up to 15,000. Let me double check. Yeah, those are the numbers for the Garnet and Black spring game 1 week from this Saturday. So good news there. Tickets on sale today for Gamecock Club fans. Tickets on sale Monday for those of you not in the Gamecock Club or non-Gamecock Club members. 10 o'clock today is when they go on sale, and 10 o'clock on Monday to the general public. So good news, and Ray Tanner kind of gave us the heads up on that when he was on with Jay Phillips on Monday, that is where they were working, and that's what they were hopeful of. And now it is officially happening that the spring capacity has been expanded from 9,000 to 15,000 fans for Shane Beamer's first spring scrimmage coming up a week from Saturday. Wanted to get into some comments from Pete Limbo, Montario Hardesty yesterday, both assistant coaches speaking. Also want to let you hear a little bit of Frank Martin. I'm guessing you probably heard some of it by now, but certainly worth revisiting and breaking down from all kind of angles. Love to hear your thoughts. Again, 803-404-6100, the number into the show. It's the early game. It's 107.5 again.
Oh, it is a great day. It's a Friday. It's going to be nice. I think the weather's going to cool off just a little bit, but I tell you what, it's going to be a great day. You're going to have a great weekend. How about this? You need to go purchase a new vehicle or a pre-owned vehicle, and I've got just the place for you. Love Chevrolet. How about this? Love Chevrolet, proud to announce that thanks to your incredible loyalty, Chevrolet has once again presented them with the Mark of Excellence Award for 2020. This isn't just any trophy you put in the case. The Mark of Excellence Award is the highest honor any Chevrolet dealer can receive, and it's only given out to a handful of dealerships in the entire country each year. The Mark of Excellence represents Love Chevrolet's commitment to providing you with the absolute best sales, service, and customer care, like the largest selection to choose from, over 14 acres to be exact. And don't forget about Love Chevrolet has got financing options for all of life situations. Buy here, pay there. Well, don't buy there at Love Chevrolet, not here. You don't buy from me. You get the point. Go visit Love Chevrolet. Best in the business. They've been doing it for 60 years. They're going to continue to take care of you and your family. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
Glass, a true reflection of quality.
You stay out of trouble last night?
Yeah, we picked up private property, and so ate a big dinner.
Property is a place out your way. Is that right?
Yeah, it's good. It's like a kind of
It's
like
like you just picked up some private property.
yeah. Jen knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, I thought it's probably one of my favorite restaurants in Lexington. We did some Cajun Creole spring rolls, some we do she crab soup, and then we had red fish with fried corn and green beans. Jen, you ever been to private property?
I have not.
Yeah, I'll vouch for that place. It's really, really good.
Sounds awfully Baton Rouge-ish, sir.
It was. That's what we did that and watched. Normally we get the alligator bites, but we went different last night. But yeah, I ate kind of late. I say that I ate probably at 8 o'clock, but I was in bed by 9:15. I feel like I think I had the lights out by 9:30. Let me get some coffee real quick.
Jen, I'm sending you a log of the stuff that I listened to yesterday. I was hoping that we wouldn't need to use it today, but by your message there, it looks like you got to do some work there.
Yeah.
So those are off the YouTube page, those times that I put in the log that I just sent you, emailed you.
Also having a technical issue with sending stuff via the file manager.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Should be able to play a Frank coming back, right? You can just pot it down.
Yeah, I can just start it and
make sure it's not the one that's he went with crappy on steroids that needs to be edited out.
Okay, this makes me a little nervous.
No, I'm sure if it's already in the system, I'm sure Dave's already done that. If he even put it in at all.
Yeah, like I said, there's just chunks over here. So let me listen.
Right, usual. I'll get out of your way. Thank you. What is what called there, Craig? Maybe I can help you out since. Oh, Bill's back.
What is what called?
Yeah,
what is it
that
called?
was my question.
The restaurant, private property.
Why do people text in the same thing at different times?
I don't know.
Same text. Is it just that easy to copy and paste?
Yeah, I think so.
Actually, Rich took out a few words. Like he obviously retexted it. He went from "I wish Frank Martin would just go away" to "Frank Martin needs to go away." Oh, I've never seen that one. I don't think that could be an autocorrect. That's a classic bit, though. Have you ever seen that one? Who is the guy that did it? The comedian. Oh man, why can't I think of his name? Like, can you spell restaurant?
I hadn't seen that one.
That's Bill Burr's buddy who passed away recently.
Not Tom Segura didn't pass away, did he?
No. And he didn't pass away that recently. It's been at least 5 years, and I don't know why I can't think of his name off the top of my head because I'm a dummy. Used to be on VH1, like the pop-up video show, or he had his own one, I think.
Is Steve-O watching on the live stream but texting in on the...
I don't know. He's got a good text, though. I like it. Something east, right?
No, Craig. The restaurant's private property. It's kind of in the middle of Lexington. Lexington's done a good job with I don't know if O'Hara's is I think O'Hara's is a privately owned restaurant. It's not a chain. But I mean, you've got that stretch there. I don't go there a lot, but Old Mill Brew Pub, O'Hara's, Aladia's, There's the Thai place. I've never been to the Thai place on Main Street, but it's supposed to be really good.
There it is. Patrice O'Neal. My bad. Took me forever. That would not help.
Working to get to the bottom of it. That's what we do on this show. But
Figured it out.
yeah, Lexington's done a good job with, I guess, again, what I kind of call mom and pop restaurants, even though, Aladia's and Private Property they're not mom and they're good restaurants. They're good places.
Okay. Do you want me to play something? Or?
You can walk
10
in,
times a day. It starts at 8 a.m. It goes all the way to 5 a.m.
you
every
can walk in.
Friday through May 12th now. Going to give you a chance to win $100 and qualify to win a grand prize jackpot of $25,000. It's $25K workday payday right here on 107.5 The Game. All you got to do is text that hourly secret keyword to 95819. Those keywords change. The text number does not. 95819 is the number to remember and listen to the top of the hour, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every Monday through Friday right here on 107.5 The Game through May 12th. Once May 12th rolls around, baseball season will be much different. I think it's May 10th was the date somebody hit us up with yesterday that the regional sites will already be announced. And that's different this year just from the COVID-19 standpoint. They're doing that a little bit earlier so they can have some, I'm guessing, protocols already in place, go ahead and set up and the whole thing. And that that does kind of fast forward the timetable for SEC baseball. You're not going to be able to make the latest run, right, to earn your way into hosting or improve your standing nationally. So that is why I mentioned, Bill, that I feel like, boy, South Carolina and LSU go into this series in totally different places. 3-9 for LSU, backs against the wall. They got to start winning some games quickly. And Carolina playing with house money in a lot of ways, going on the road at this point, having already played Florida and Vanderbilt, and 8-4 in conference play going in. Last night, not pretty. Just 3 hits, 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. It was a leadoff triple in the 7th inning where Carolina ends up not scoring. And you got to give LSU a lot of credit. It was a hard hit ball to shortstop. The infield was playing back, and man, LSU shortstop Jordan Thompson. You heard it if you were watching the SEC Network broadcast. Mike Morgan and Todd Walker, the LSU alum and All-American back in the day, says Jordan Thompson is billed as having the best arm ever at shortstop for LSU, and he showed it off. And he gunned down David Mendham at the plate, and the play at the plate was a little goofy because Hayden Travinsky, the LSU catcher, maybe a little extra aggressive.
Yeah, Tad was excited.
David Mendham in a tough spot there because he wasn't expecting a throw, I don't think. I thought it was the right move to go home. The infield's playing back. There's a ground ball to shortstop. You should go home and score. But it was a heck of a play by the LSU shortstop, and then the tag kind of goes up and at David Mendham's head, and he kind of gets blocked off there. I thought the umpiring crew did a good job in getting in the middle of that, making sure no extracurriculars continued after that. Yes, I just said extracurriculars.
That's right. There was already some curriculars that were taking place. You didn't want the extra.
And then in the 9th inning, Bill, Devin Fontenot was on and struggling massively, basically giving the Gamecocks bases loaded with no outs. And Colin Burgess comes up, aggressive. I think it was a 3-1 count. Ground ball to third, right on the bag, touch third, throw over to first. The Gamecocks get their only run of the game in that double play, and that was it. Good news for Carolina is it wasn't an extremely taxing night on the pitching staff. Thomas Farr didn't have his great stuff. Daniel Lloyd came in after that and did an okay job. Jackson Phipps comes on. I think it was his second pitch, giving up a home run there late in the ball game. But that was it. Those 3 guys, the only guys through yesterday. You got Brandon Jordan back on the mound, a guy who has already the last 2 weeks, like we pointed out, steadied things and gotten Carolina a bounce-back win with a pretty solid performance in game number 2 of the series. And then you got the bullpen set up after that. The main difference this week is that Will Sanders has already been announced as that game 3 starter. The freshman has really seemed to really nail down that spot. He's earned it. And we'll see what Carolina can do with LSU the rest of the way from that standpoint.
Yeah,
Bill, I wanted to continue about the Frank Martin press conference yesterday. What'd you make of seeing those guys? I felt like we hadn't seen Sindarius Thornwell, PJ Dozier, Mike Kotsar, Dwayne Notice all together. Justin Mackey, I guess the other guy in the video. I hadn't seen them all together quite like that. It was an interesting way to start off a press conference, I thought, yesterday, with the show of support and kind of a seal of approval from those guys with Frank Martin moving forward.
It was interesting to me just because it was a media deal. You know, like I wasn't sure. I don't know if fans. I guess that part maybe they did that to because I guess it went on the Gamecocks Online website. Am I right about that? I never think about that because we're watching it, and I know that it wasn't streamed or we didn't obviously broadcast it. I don't think it was. I don't think it was put anywhere. And I only say that because just like it comes on, you're like, all right, well, who? You know, you're doing this to the media. Like I get it if you're doing it for the fans. I feel like that's a video you put out for the fans, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's part of what press conferences are now as well. Everything gets put up on a website later, the YouTube channel for the university. It's a way to almost cut out the middleman of us media nerds and speak directly to fans.
But that's fine. Look, I get it. There's a lot of people that aren't happy with the basketball program. I'm not going to sit there and tell anybody that there should be anybody that's thrilled or happy with what's going on. You got a 6-15 season. You got to play better. Frank Martin knows that. He mentioned it yesterday. It does. I do laugh when people like you know, he was honest yesterday. He admitted. He said it wasn't a good job coaching. He said it was the worst he's done in, what did he say, 29 years? Is that right? Was it 29 years? Like, what do you want him to? And then people get mad about that and be like, oh, it's you know, I don't understand what people want from him. The only thing you can do is sit back now. He's going to be the coach. He's going to be the coach. Wes Miller taking the Cincinnati job. And you hope he turns it around. You hope he turns it around. And we'll see what he does. I'm not going to build up this basketball team to tell you that they're going to be an NCAA tournament team. I will tell you that with the influx of new guys, I'm very intrigued to see what they look like. Like I would obviously, even if this was not my job, if Sports Talk and having to watch them to talk about it next December, January, February wasn't my job, I'm interested to see what they look like. Like this is kind of fascinating to me to flip a roster in the manner that's happening, but it's not just at South Carolina, it's at Florida, it's at Cincinnati, it's across the board. Really, it's now the way that college basketball is being developed and kind of played. Your roster changes basically year to year, and we'll see how South Carolina looks. But the only thing that Frank can do is get his new crop of players in there and try to get them to mold into the team that he likes with the attitude that he likes, and see if you can bounce back next year and put yourself at least in a position to get the NCAA tournament.
I think on the ticker last night it was Oklahoma and its basketball program being highlighted of all the guys leaving. I think it's a total of 8 at this point, something like that. Maybe 2 more announcing their intentions yesterday. So you're right. Certainly, it's not South Carolina in a bubble exclusive position they're exclusively in. Now they are in one that is pretty unique because Frank asked a question yesterday: how many guys have been at Power 5 programs? 9 years. And how many guys are making the amount of money? He mentioned the amount of money he's making, and not many other coaches out there are like that. That's where South Carolina is pretty unique at this point. And Bill, for a program, we've talked about the history of the basketball program, I feel like ad nauseum here in the last several months, certainly as the season was going on and towards the end there. It's the opposite move that the Gamecock football program got the reputation for, right? That as soon as a coach isn't performing, that you move on, you get another coach in there, and then that was always the reputation for, or the explanation for, one of the reasons why Gamecock football never established a winning tradition. So I got no problem if you're going to miss being consistent, right, with a guy who's already proven that he can coach, and that's Frank Martin. And I feel like the reaction that we got the most, while from the outside looking in, certainly, Frank Martin's future was very much up in the air here after the season. I feel like what we got most from people is, hey, give him at least another year. after this year with everything involved. And Frank talked about it yesterday, how difficult it was personally with his health issues, and says he grew up in an era where you didn't call in sick to work. And then while he was struggling, his top assistant, Chuck Martin, was also struggling with the COVID issues and the whole thing. But my point is that most people said, hey, he deserves another year, deserves another chance to prove that he can be the guy moving forward. And my takeaway from that was, okay, but how do you do that with the contract being what it is? And they figured it out. And Frank Martin mentioned yesterday he's not thrilled with the contract terms moving forward with an extension for 2 years, but the buyout remaining the same. But also, I think being really honest, saying, well, what do you expect after a bad year kind of deal? So I think this might have ended with them staying together, how they stayed together, Frank Martin and South Carolina basketball, about as good as it could, because you can't give your basketball coach much more of an extension than he got after a 6-15 season. I know the track record. You just can't do that, especially from the economic standpoint and the whole thing with where the Gamecocks ended. Disagree?
No, it's not. I think I don't think you can base your opinion on 1 year, good or bad. If you want to defend Frank Martin and say that, I don't know, I guess I would be the one defending him on this, but you have to almost, and this isn't going to make people happy, but listen to what I say before you start texting. You have to throw last year out. But what you do take into account is the other 8 years. All right, well, there was one NCAA tournament bid. There were 2 NITs. There needs to be a little bit more there. There needs to be a little bit more meat on the bone. So I'm not trying to defend Frank Martin when I say throw 1 year out, because it was a bad year. It technically was the anomaly of Frank Martin's career. Look at his career. When he says it was his worst year, he's right. And I totally understand that. I'm willing to forgive the 1 year. I do think you should have had more prior. There should have been the 8-13 season. We don't know what would have happened there if they make a run in the SEC tournament, if they put themselves in position to be on the bubble. Maybe they get the benefit of the doubt. I don't know. We don't know. We assume that they weren't going to make the NCAA tournament. But I can agree with people who say, all right, fine, throw year 9 out. Years 1 through 8 should have produced a little bit more than just one Final Four run, which, by the way, again, has never happened and probably will never happen again. So continue to enjoy that. But I don't look at I think the extension has to be based on the entire body of work and not just 1 year. I'm okay with the extension to 2 years. I'm like you. I think it fits the purpose. The financial terms fit what's happening here. They allow everybody out with ease. He gets 1 year to try and fix everything. And I'll say it again, and you agree with me on this because you said it multiple times. When you talk about the job search and what was going to happen if they'd have gone out there, you could have found somebody different to run the program. That was going to be easy. Finding somebody to run the program was the easy part. Yeah, you could go get Bob Ritchie from Furman or BJ Mackey from Wake Forest, and I think it would have been one of those two based on what I know. I really think it would have ended up being Bob Ritchie. As a matter of fact, I'll just say it out loud. I would have been shocked if it wasn't Bob Ritchie coming from
several times at this point.
Yes. So I think they were going to get turned down a ton if they'd have tried to pursue people. They were going to get used for contract extensions and raises by other teams. But the bottom line is you got to find the best coach to try and hit the reset button. And the best coach you could find is the current head coach at the University of South Carolina, whether you like it or not. We'll see if he can do it. I'm not going to tell anybody that yes, it's definitely going to happen. But it is Frank Martin's to try and fix now.
Yeah, I think where you got to in that part of that gas bag you got to take was the entirety, the body of work. And that's why you don't just overlook last year, but you do have to put it in context. And I think we saw Will Muschamp in that situation prove that no one gets a free pass for what happens with their team last year. But you do look at it a little differently. And now Gamecock basketball moves on. Several of you commenting on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Mr. Weeks says, why is everyone worried about the transfers? Isn't it like we were winning with them? Yeah, I don't think there are a bunch of people worried about the transfers. I think it was a little surprising, some of the names. when you're talking about Justin Minaya, a guy who's been in the program and been as important to the program as he was, then a guy like Jalen McCrary with as much potential as he had as a developing big guy, and a guy like Trey Hannibal who flashed as much as he did. Those specific guys, I get why fans would not like them to be gone or be a little upset about that. But you got guys coming in now to fill those spots with plenty of experience and a bit of a proven track record from that standpoint. Tiger Greg says, throw a year out. If I don't show up for work, my boss and yours wouldn't keep us around. What are you teaching here? Greg, we're trying to be fair in evaluating things and knowing the circumstances of last year. That's all. And that's exactly what Frank was talking about how he grew up in an era that you don't call in sick to work and you fight and scratch and claw and make sure that you show up every day. And that's what he was trying to do, and it didn't work. But well, Greg, I think my response is, Greg, if you did show up for work and you just didn't perform like you had performed in the past, does your boss automatically get rid of you? Or does your boss have a little patience with you in the knowing everything that's been involved recently? Kentucky Joe says, I agree. The Frank Martin deal was the best outcome for South Carolina monetarily. As you guys know, I'm not a fan of Martin, but he does deserve the deal made. And Mr. Week says the fair comes once a year, usually in October. Oh, we got a comedian in the group. It is a Friday. He's going to be here. I hope he's going to be here all weekend. 803-404-6100 is the number to get in on the program. You can call or text. You can also hit us up on the live video stream, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Everybody hopping in on that. Chris, Carlton, Craig, Colby just hit us up. I was impressed with your sunglasses indoors. Did you?
That's right. Yeah.
This morning. All
I
right.
did. I threw those on, and then my computer cut out because apparently I didn't charge it last night. So I was just sitting here, and all of a sudden it just cut off. I was like, oh, I guess I should plug it in and charge it back up. That way I can stay on the live stream.
Sonny also up and rolling with us. If you haven't subscribed to that YouTube channel, would love to have you there. Just search 107.5 The Game. You don't have to put the 107.5 in there on the YouTube search. Just 107.5 The Game, and then make it a little easier to pull that up every day. We're also up and rolling on Twitter, at 107.5 The Game. I'll let you hear some from Frank Martin, what he had to say when we come back as we continue to roll on. Extending the capacity, is that how you say that? Expanding capacity.
Increasing?
What I'm looking for.
We're going with
increasing capacity. Even better word, Bill. You are.
Well, I am the wordsmith. Oh, yeah, I am. I'm the one who holds down the English
15,000 now for the spring game, up from 9,000, and tickets go on sale today for Gamecock Club members, general public, at 10 a.m. on Monday. So good news from a football perspective there. And we will discuss some more Gamecock football with a couple of assistant coaches speaking yesterday. What the offense will look like from the vantage point perspective of the running backs coach, I thought was the most interesting thing I heard yesterday, maybe outside of one other comment from special teams coordinator and assistant head coach Pete Limbo. So that's on the docket today as well. You're listening to the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
How about this stat? We're going to give you a stat here. Sleep stat this morning. We've been talking sports. Let's veer left for just a second. Let me give you a statistic from Sleep Numbers, Sleep IQ data from March of 2020 to December of 2020. The most nights where you got the most sleep came in April. That's this month. It was on average 8 hours, 28 minutes. The nights you got the least amount of sleep IQ sleepers, June. That's right. So in April, people are actually sleeping the most when they have a Sleep Number bed because it's probably weather's better. Maybe there's a little less stress. I don't know. Whatever it is, with a Sleep Number bed, you get a fantastic night of sleep. I have for the last several years. I made the switched over to a Sleep Number bed. I'm telling you, last night I watched a little bit of the baseball game. I tried, and then I dozed off about 9:30 and woke up rested, refreshed, ready to go. Sleep Number bed is incredible. You can adjust the setting. You can adjust the angle. If you get your partner snores, you can fix that. I'm telling you, You need to find out what a Sleep Number bed is all about. I put my Sleep Number setting on 60, get a fantastic night of sleep. I tell you all that because this weekend they've got a special. How about this? The weekend special, the new Queen Sleep Number 360 P5 smart bed is only $1,799 plus free premium delivery when you add a base, but it ends Monday. 2 stores to choose from, one in Irmo, Harbison Boulevard, the other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. I'm telling you, a lot of people hear those numbers, they think, man, that's a lot. Sleep is one of the most vital things you have in life. You need it. It sets up the rest of your day. You can change your eating habits if you're not eating, or excuse me, if you're not sleeping enough. You've got to get a great night's sleep. Let me tell you, Sleep Number beds will help you tremendously. And right now, the new Queen Sleep Number 360 P5 smart bed is on sale for $1,799 plus free premium delivery when you add a base, but it ends Monday. So make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
Not sure what happened to Jen on the old live stream here.
Yeah, I was sitting here. I went to click on one of the text messages, and all of a sudden my computer screen went blank, and I was like, oh, no, the computer's out. And then I looked around. I was like, oh, no, it's just not plugged in. It's been on all night. All right, that's good. Total difference. Total difference. I didn't see, I got sidetracked yesterday. I was trying to fish. I don't know why. There's no fish in this lake. I was trying to fish. And I didn't watch the end of the first round of the Heritage.
Cameron Smith's got the lead, I believe.
Did he come back and did he top Stewart Cink?
Yeah, shot 62.
Wow.
Yeah, impressive though. Stewart Cink. Let's guess how old he is. I'm gonna go.
Didn't we did this the other day? I felt like somebody from the future came and texted us. Who was it? Was it Monday? Didn't somebody text us and be like, how about that Stewart Cink round?
Yeah, randomly.
Yeah.
And I know you looked up his score. I didn't think you looked up his age. I'm guessing he's 48.
I'd go 51.
I think we would have heard about him on the Legends Tour, whatever they're calling it these days.
I'll be honest, I don't even really pay attention to the Legends Tour.
I think I would have heard about it.
He is 47. He'll be 48 in May.
Way off. So we'll update what the local guys did too. Wonder what former champion Wesley Bryan did here. Checking this out and annoying everyone by clicking.
That's okay. You're doing a good job. We're all proud of you.
Dustin Johnson 1 under. Bill Haas +1. McGirt 3 over. Doc Redmond 10 over. Whoa.
Well, that's a rough day. I mean,
Then Martin
for me, that's a good day.
Me, that's a record-setting day. What about Matt Neesmith? Didn't see his name the first time through. Good for him and Wes Bryan. Oh, Wesley Bryan tied for 17, 3 under. Impressive. And Neesmith, same thing, 3 under. In the mix, Lucas Glover at 4 under. Colin Morikawa tied for 3rd at 6 under. Sonny, Patrick's going to fill in for Pearson this afternoon from noon to 4. And yes, you're right, Chris. Jen's actually working.
Nah.
Morning, Anthony. Josh, was that a guess that Stuart Sink is 60 years old?
I don't know what that was.
Impressive.
Now I'm looking. Now you got me. I'm looking to see what the weather is supposed to get. 60 high, 67 today. Gonna dip down a little bit.
At Hilton Head or Columbia?
But here, I'll look at Hilton Head. Let's see here. Hilton Head's only supposed to be 66 today. 70 tomorrow, 73. Ooh, chances of rain though on the weekend.
It doesn't sound like ideal adult spring break conditions.
No, it doesn't. Well, I don't know. 60 high, probably good for the guys if you're out walking around on the course, not too hot, not going to break a huge sweat. Maybe the ladies want to go to the beach, not as much fun. Probably not the kind of layout weather you want. Did y'all get out on the beach much at no?
Nope.
A little too chilly?
Yeah, and then the kids were a little sickly and didn't work out great.
Okay. And we're back. Sounds like we're back.
So much to discuss this morning. Hour number 1 flew by.
We did.
Press conference from yesterday. LSU, a 5-1 winner against the Gamecocks last night. Just 3 hits, 16 strikeouts to start things in Baton Rouge, dropping to 8-5 in conference play. And then football, a couple of assistant coaches talking yesterday, and special teams coordinator Pete Lembo. It was Montario Hardesty, I thought, was the most interesting. He was talking about everything his running backs were doing and what the offense is looking like, Bill, and how sometimes they'll have two running backs on the field, or sometimes they'll go in different formations, and how the offense has an answer for everything, and how it's a lot like an NFL install that he's been around. I thought that was really interesting to hear all those details pop out from Montario Hardesty yesterday, and just listening to the guy too. You can see how he might have some success in recruiting. Pretty entertaining guy to listen to.
Yeah, we'll get into that because a couple things that he said. Again, we know running backs will be the strength, and it sounds like Marcus Satterfield is definitely going to utilize them in a lot of different ways.
The comparisons of his guys to other running backs he's seen in the past, too, pretty big time. He said Rashad Amos, a lot like Saquon Barkley with how strong he is in the lower body. Some solid compliments there in hour number 2.
All right, let's do a little coffee. Get loosened up this morning.
Just leaving me. You guys are just left alone with me. Oh, yeah. Oh, see him going outside now. You guys see the shadow walking around?
Someone, yeah, I sat out on the porch a little bit last night. It was nice.
Yeah, nice day for sure.
I need to get a broom. I got sand all in here.
You guys TV audio, or is that something up on the laptop there?
Talking to me?
Yeah, I'm hearing something.
I'll let me come back a second.
Oh, it's just the show audio. Never mind. So Todd hits us up and says, I know every program's different, but Alabama's having 50,000 fans at the spring game. Yeah. Alabama and South Carolina spring games might be slightly different right now.
Canada.
Ooh. So what you got going for the weekend? Anything?
Oh, we got a big weekend. Competitive cheer tryouts, Tim. Competitive cheer tryouts.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Final soccer game. It's on Sunday at 1:30, and tomorrow is competitive cheer tryouts.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the weekend, and in between a lot of rest. I'm really just getting to the point now where a slight vacation would be good, but I think that's not going to come until May. I think it's gonna have to be after Mother's Day based on how everything's starting to shake out.
And how does one define a slight vacation?
I will try and take probably 2 days during the week and wrap them into a 2-day weekend for a nice 4-day vacation. What are we going for? No, I don't know what she's going for. I have no idea about competitive cheer.
Hilarious, Ty. Only because I have sisters do I even know what that question is about. Base. That's great. If you are not familiar with the world of competitive cheer, I believe those are the cheerleaders that stay on the bottom with the pyramids. They're the base. And what are the other ones, like flyers or tumbler?
Flyer, I know Flyer. Ansley was telling me some of it. I got to listen better.
I think I've told you this one before, but that reminds me of a conversation had with, it was like spring break 98 or something, 97 maybe, with a girl with our group of guys trying to convince us that cheerleading was a sport and the whole thing. My buddy was there, and he was a pole vaulter at USC. And he's like, I get it. You guys do some like gymnastic stuff. I can do that stuff. I'm silly. I'll go do it now on the street for you. It was like midnight or past that. We were at the beach. He just goes out in the street and just does like 5 back handsprings in a row.
Oh no, are you
So
serious?
ridiculous. Yeah. What do you mean? Oh no, he's good. He just goes down the street, makes it look easy.
I mean, like, yeah, like who goes out and does 5 back? I can't.
Pole vaulters at Carolina.
I wonder if Ansley's seen Bring It On. That's a good. I might have her watch that, David. That might be like what I was forced to watch before the '99 state championship game against Lower Richland when they made us watch Hoosiers, and then we went out and got creamed by Lower Richland. Got just smacked around in the state championship game.
Jake, we'll get in just a second. Sonny, you got any help for Sonny there looking for tickets for the spring game? Because they don't go on sale to the general public until Monday, Sonny, at 10 o'clock. Today, they're on sale for Gamecock Club members at 10.
Yeah, you gotta they're for Gamecock Club member. There won't be any available to the general public. They'll get snapped up. You're gonna have to, if you got a buddy in the Gamecock Club, you need to contact him.
Are we going to be in a situation where people are going to be scalping spring game tickets, Bill?
I would, yes. That the answer to that is yes.
The free spring game tickets to Gamecock Club members and $5 to the general public. Isn't that what it is? Or maybe $5 for everybody, $10? That's crazy. But not as crazy as some baseball tickets. Have you seen this on social media? It's Tennessee and Vandy this weekend and Ole Miss and Mississippi State, I think. And I've seen like where those tickets are going for $200 or something ridiculous. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of where to go with that. And good morning, Miss Beverly. Welcome in. Glad you're up.
Friday morning is here. Hope your Friday's off to a good start. It's Friday during April. Bill's already gone through the weather forecast. Had a great day yesterday. Going to get a little chillier maybe today. I haven't seen the weekend forecast, but Bill's got a big weekend of competitive cheer tryouts on the docket.
Well, I don't. My daughter does. That sounds that really. If you phrase it that way, people are going, Bill's trying out for competitive cheer. Is he trying out for his professional? Does he still think he's got a shot at professional cheer? It's not me. It's my daughter. We do have tomorrow tryouts for competitive cheer. I think as a single dad, it's a world that I'm unfamiliar with. My sister never did anything. Like, I'm used to the sports. Austin's getting older, and I think I think sometimes we try to relate to our listener. And I'm sure there's a lot of people this morning. You're taking your child to school, and son or daughter, maybe the dads can relate very well to the sports side of it, the soccer, the baseball, the football, the basketball, hockey, or whatever, wrestling. You can relate to that. You can bond with your son, or if your daughter plays those sports, softball, you can understand that. I can do that with my kids. I cannot do it with competitive cheer. I don't grasp. Like, I just found out that she's going to try out this weekend. She's going to be on a team because they don't turn anybody away, and because they like money, from what I can gather from the sheets I've gotten. They're big fans of money. So she's going to make a team. Also,
you need to point out the age, right? It's she's 11.
She's 11. She'll be 12 in September. So we're entering a phase. She's going to do competitive cheer. So what I found out a couple of days ago is that she'll try out, and I was like, oh, there goes the summer. We're going to be traveling Greenville, Charleston, Myrtle Beach, for these competitive cheer competitions. So I get the sheet and I'm looking at it. I'm like, wait, she tries out in May. She tries out this weekend. It starts in May, and we don't have our first competitive cheer competition until December. I'm just paying you for 7 months basically and they're like, well, yeah, it's difficult. Like, we got to get them in a routine. We don't want kids just falling on each other. They got to learn the music. They got to learn the step, everything that goes with, again, choreography. Is that a right word? Did I say that correctly?
That is a word.
Did I hit that one?
Sounds like about the prep time that Shane Beamer and company get, right?
Yeah.
Same calendar?
About the same. It's going to be about the same. There's a 7-month. So yeah, that will be the weekend. And then Austin wraps up soccer on Sunday at 1:30. So we go for an undefeated season. We go for an undefeated season here in soccer. And then the concern becomes with Ansley doing competitive cheer. And again, there's a lot of people out there can relate to this. Ansley gets into competitive cheer next year, which I understand is some travel. There's travel involved. Austin's heading down the path of probably academy or classic or travel soccer. So my weekends are heading toward there will be no lake and no, just be sitting at a soccer field or in an auditorium, one of the two.
Sound pretty pumped about that.
Yeah. I'm gonna enjoy this weekend.
So as you were talking about the build up for competitive cheer and the timeline there, it got me thinking about hearing from Montario Hardesty, the running backs coach for the Gamecocks yesterday, and Pete Limbo, the assistant head coach, special teams coordinator. How many college football programs out there have a 30-minute media session in the middle of April with the special teams coordinator at the school? There can't be that many, can there? Or is this maybe this is just an SEC football thing where we're all in on football all the time, especially with the new staff. And that's how long the session went yesterday. And again, I pointed out in hour number 1, Pete Limbo will always be spoken highly of on this show for what he did for a couple of weeks ago, 6 weeks, I don't know, a couple months ago now at this point. I forget the day we lost power. We went 6 hours and emergency bullpen and gives us a shout and helps us out on the on that we had. So from a personal perspective, big Pete Limbo fans. What he had to say yesterday I thought was really interesting about how guys like Dakereon Joyner and Nick Muse and the leadership roles they're taking on special teams and the kind of how they're sacrificing or their approach to special teams, helping to lay the foundation for the entire program. And Shane Beamer, having been a former special teams guy, and obviously his dad and Beamer Ball and the whole thing at Virginia Tech, the importance placed on special teams by the head coach and him getting backed up in that way has helped make his job easier. And that's just what it is right now for the South Carolina football program. I know, Bill, you are a little bit cautious with any kind of talk right now from any kind of South Carolina football coach after what we've heard the last few years, I feel like, and not putting too much stock into it. But I thought that was an especially interesting comment from Pete Lembo yesterday, and something that we just haven't heard. The only thing I remember hearing from Will Muschamp about special teams in his tenure was that the team speed wasn't very good when he came in, and it got much improved as he recruit how he wanted to recruit. I think from a production standpoint, I don't know if we saw much improvement in his tenure. I don't remember seeing an evolution. I remember seeing kind of a de-evolution, maybe. At least it was embarrassing what the Gamecocks did from a punt return standpoint for at least an entire season, when they ended up having to put Hayden Hurst back there, and they gave up a lot of yards. And Pete Lembo was talking about his hidden yardage and how if you don't catch a punt, it bounces 15 yards back. It doesn't necessarily show up in the box score, but you just lost 15 yards. And like we did see a lot of that, some of that slip through the cracks in the Muschamp era, and you feel like that you're not guaranteed that it's going to be better in the Shane Beamer / Pete Lembo era, but you are guaranteed, or I feel like I am guaranteed, that there will be more of an emphasis put there, or more of an understanding that can't happen for the team to have success in that area.
It's going to be magnified early on. South Carolina has to win so many little battles, because obviously in the SEC there's going to be talent gaps between you and Georgia and Texas A&M and Florida right now, and South Carolina's going to have to win in certain areas. And you're right. I go back to, Tim, you go back to, I'm trying to think, Muschamp's first year, and South Carolina's playing Georgia at home. And, Jacob Eason is throwing it to everybody in the stands, and nobody wearing a Georgia helmet that day. I think he was 5 of 21 or something. I think you said it was one of the worst quarterback performances you'd ever seen. And South Carolina's in the game there at the end. It's 21-14, and Hayden Hurst doesn't field a punt. And the ball rolls down inside, I think, the 10-yard line. South Carolina would have a turnover, or something would happen, and Georgia would score an easy touchdown to win 28-14. But, yeah, special teams is an area that South Carolina is going to have to win, especially this year, when there are certain games where you have to line up and win small battles that maybe you could get away with if you're a more talented team. They're not going to be able to they're going to have to do that. And so certainly making field goals, not allowing guys to run punts back, as we saw Tennessee do a few years. Think about the Tennessee game in Knoxville 2 years ago. Was it a punt return for a touchdown? Am I right? There was a punt return for a touchdown and a blocked punt that went for a touchdown in that game, if I remember correctly, without looking at the.
Yep, I know it's 14 points. Certainly they gave up.
So, again, things like that. So Pete Lembo will have a very important part of this 2021 football team for South Carolina.
No doubt about that. Important series for Gamecock baseball down at LSU. Not off to a good start for Carolina, losing 5-1 last night. Question from Jake about the pitching rotation moving forward. Thomas Farr continued to struggle there in the series opener. And Steven just hit us up, I believe he goes by Twig. Not sure about the lineup change last night. Why make a change when you are winning? We'll discuss some of those details as it pertains to the baseball program as we roll on this morning. 8 o'clock first pitch tonight for game 2 of that series down in Baton Rouge. And just try to keep in mind, Carolina has lost the last couple of series openers against Georgia in Athens, and then last week at home against Missouri, then bounced back to win the last 2 to take 2 out of 3 of the last couple of series. They've won 3 straight SEC series overall with that sweep against Florida.
Yeah, certainly you got to bounce back tonight. You got to, look, you need to win tonight. It's not a must win in terms of the season, but South Carolina, momentum, I don't know, Tim, momentum in baseball, and I've said this multiple times on this program, seems so much more important than it does in any other sport. You get on, we saw you win 11 in a row to start, you lose 6 in a row right after that. You kind of get back on the winning train there. South Carolina, with the games coming up, cannot afford to, I think, go into Saturday on the cusp of being swept. So a big game tonight. And I just want to say thank you to Charles. I feel like Charles and I bonded. I was going back through some of his text messages. He's been kind of mean to me. He was not particularly nice yesterday, but he just gave me some advice on since he's a cheer dad, and he gave me some advice on how to handle these competitions and stuff. So I feel like me and him have found a bonding area where we can relate to each other. He might be a Tiger and I might be a Gamecock, but we just came together, and it's a I feel like it's a very good relationship now.
Oh, don't keep secrets there. I got to give the contents of that text message just in case there are other cheer dads out there. I'm sure there are. He says, as a father of a cheerleader, the best part is cheer competitions usually stay on top. Make sure your phone is fully charged before an event so you have something to do, and be prepared for lots of techno music and pop.
I'm ready.
Be prepared. That is in Bill's wheelhouse. Are you kidding me?
I've already told her I'll be the dad at the back with the sign up, or very, very, very aggressive father. Like you didn't stick the landing quite right. We got to get back and work on that. I told her the worst thing. I'll tell this story, and I coach Austin hard. I'm very, because I'm a believer just in life. If he can one day. He's not going to work for me, and there will be a time coming up where he won't play sport for me. I'll just be in the stands. If he can play for me at 8 years old, if he can deal with me, he can deal with anybody. It's just how I kind of coach him, and how I'd rather be the one that he looks back on and be like, man, Dad was really tough. So a couple of weeks ago, I was taking my daughter to cheer, and I was like, all right, here's how I'll be as a dad. I was actually joking with her because I have no clue what I'm talking about, but I was taking her to cheer. I was like, now I'll be the dad that's in the back with the sign, and I'll be yelling, and I'll be telling you what to do. And she said, I'd prefer you not do that. I said, what? You don't want me yelling at you like I yell at Austin? She's like, no, I really don't. I was like, what? You don't think he enjoys that at all? Like, he seems to really like soccer. She's like, Dad, I don't think he enjoys that at all. And I had to go through you helping me learn math, and that was not enjoyable either. So if you could just sit down and be quiet in the auditorium, that'd be very nice. I was like, oh, that's hurtful. I thought I was doing very good as a father teaching my kids. So. Kids, as you're heading to school this morning, be thankful that your parents are nice to you, and tell your parent as you're heading to school, get you a donut. You deserve a donut this morning.
So many things I disagree with in that. Maggie hot take. That might be the most polar opposite I've been on a Bill Country Gas Maggie hot take.
What, the part about the hard coaching, or the sitting in the auditorium, or?
And the donut. Don't forget the donut on the way to school. On the way.
On the way, you need a donut on the way to school. It just starts off a Friday. The sun just came up over Lake Murray. It's going to be a nice weekend. I might. I only know of one teacher at Springdale Elementary out there that doesn't like me. I'm very familiar with that one.
Oh boy. 803-404-6100. We see you on the Love Chevy phone lines. We're going to talk some Gamecock football as we roll on. We'll get into more of those details with the Gamecock baseball 5-1 loss last night. Also, the Frank Martin press conference yesterday. Plenty to discuss on a Friday where Bill is airing personal grievances or giving parenting advice. Maybe both.
That's what we should. We should just have a segment where I give parenting advice. It would be better than most. I'll give you this. It would be better than most think. Most I know are like, no, please no. But I could write a book. That's not true. I have two incredible kids. I'm very, very lucky and blessed. I don't know what I did right or where I did it correctly, but I'm very lucky.
That took a serious turn. We need to take a serious break. It's the early game. It's 107.5 again.
Yeah, David. See? You're a principal. You should do donuts for all your kids. It should be Donut Friday. I'm a good father. We're gonna probably grill out tonight. Grill something. We grilled hamburgers on Tuesday. Say no to sugar fry on a Friday. What? No.
Yeah, every day. Agreed, David.
No. Fridays have got to be fun. You got to wear your best outfit, make you feel good. You gotta have a donut to start. I mean, Fridays have got to be filled with fun.
We let our kids have chocolate sauce on the ice cream last night. They're
Oh yeah, there you go. Chocolate sauce on the ice cream.
just animals. Like that movie. You ever see that movie with Billy Crystal? I think it was Parental Guidance. You should check that one out if you've never seen it. They don't give their kids sugar in that movie. ever, and then they give it to them. The grandparents give it to them, and they just go nuts. That's my kids.
I'll never forget. We'll never forget the first time we gave Ansley like a little bit of Pepsi. I think she was like 3, and I mean, we just had to like bubble wrap the house because she was just literally bouncing off walls. I mean,
I believe it.
That's for you, David. It's not a make it through Friday. It's Friday for the kids. Big weekend. What do you think? 6 weeks? Actually, Ty, that's Brian Glenn's motto, I think. Boston cream. I'm more of a Krispy Kreme, just the regular cream filling. What is that? The regular. I'm not a huge Boston. I won't turn it away. But yeah, David, what do you got? 6 weeks left? That's what I was telling the kids. 6 weeks. 6 weeks is about right until the end of school. Yeah, you don't have much longer.
All right, not expertise. Definitely not expertise. I just echo what my wife tells me.
I feel like that's a conversation for a whole nother time, but are you a Bill or are you a Tim? Which?
Good one, Trey. If you were a donut, what donut would you be?
I just answered that one.
Your Boston cream, is that right?
No, just regular, the Krispy Kreme with the regular
glazed
cream in it.
Regular cream?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Like the whatever. Not Boston cream's got like it's different. It looks different. It's got a different flavor. But you know what I'm talking? Krispy Kreme. It's just got the white cream in there.
Okay.
Does that make sense? What I'm telling you? I don't know how else to explain it.
No, I'm a chocolate glazed guy as well, Ty. Chris, good for you, sir. You're getting ahead of the world. Putting in your time. You'll be good, man. Man, I worked weekdays or weekends for 15 years. 38 days, not that David's counting. Principals. God bless you guys.
Now I can't help but wonder, is now he's a principal. I don't know. We don't know where David's a principal at, but is he standing? I see
honestly.
that. Yeah, that's a good principal right there. Look at that guy.
Is okay. Good call, David.
But what I want to know, wherever is David in his office right now while everybody else is working, getting the school day going, just watching us? Is he in the pickup line right now watching this on his phone or the drop-off line? Like, come on, hop out of the car. Yeah. Like,
that'd be amazing to know that the principal has the calendar locked off until 9 a.m. Like,
yeah.
No. It's not an ad, Ty. Not an ad. Maple with bacon on top. Donuts.
Oh yeah, that's those. I say fancy. I don't know those. What is that? Like duck donuts down in Columbia. There's another one. There's two that I've heard of. Oconee County. Oh boy.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Nice, Dave. Sonny, I have the respect for you being able to do it that young. Parenting, I could not have done it then.
I never thought that we didn't have a problem with the terrible twos. Duck Donuts is an invention that excited. Yeah. I haven't been to Duck Donuts. You're gonna have to close your door. Tell them you're in a meeting. See, iced custard. Custard, yeah. I don't like the custard. I like the regular. I feel like Boston cream is more of a custard. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in that?
Yeah, me, man.
I feel like the cream. I feel like. What's this?
Yep. Just doing the old timey clip right now.
Yeah, somebody speaking in Cooperstown. Oh, a good old donut conversation. You never go wrong with that. I think I'll pick up some donuts for the kids tomorrow morning. That'll save me having to get up and fix breakfast. I don't.
Can you hear me? Oh, I see you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Patrick was now. That's a good question. If Patrick was a donut, what would he be?
grouchy.
I feel like a bear claw. Oh, we lost Tim. All I
Bitter.
see is the early game across Tim's forehead now. I just see a mustache or a beard. There we go.
So
Oh, Craig, good job.
do a little liner, and then I'll call for that limbo audio.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Bill.
You'd be surprised, Craig. I fix good dinners. I really do. Although the other night I grilled hamburgers and hot dogs for us, and we had chips.
Attaboy, Craig.
Not my best effort, but Boston cream.
Himself. Guys are up.
Grill Bill might be donut based coming up on Monday. Go to 1075thegame.com right now. The contest tab at the top of the page. Sign up for Grill Bill. Throw in some creative questions, and we might pick you to join us on Mondays the next several weeks. That's when we do our Grill Bill segment. If you get picked, you get a $50 IGA gift card. Also, you get entered for a chance to win the Camp Chef pellet grill worth more than $1,000. That's Grill Bill, sponsored by the South Carolina Pork Board, its member farmers, IGA food stores, and Camp Chef. Just in that vein, Jeremy just hit us up on the Cool Care Heating Air text line. Got my daughter a donut, frozen hot chocolate for breakfast before dropping her off all jacked up on sugar at school. We did buy her teacher an iced vanilla coffee to balance out.
Oh, it's very good. 40. That's good. That's how you handle it. Yeah.
You know, before you go off on another donut-based gas baggy hot take, I wanted everybody to hear from assistant head coach and special teams coordinator for the Gamecocks, Pete Limbo, talking about the importance of special teams and where the Gamecocks are now, kind of in the middle of spring practice. This is Pete Limbo from yesterday.
It's so critical in terms of building a culture, putting the program first, putting your teammates first,
understanding the importance of this. It's all part of a much bigger picture that is going to be really the heart and soul of what we do. So that's always starts at the top. I always tried to be one of those head coaches that emphasized it every day and supported it every day. And it's great to be working for a guy like Shane who feels the same way. It's not just giving it lip service. And then those leaders, those guys that get it, and you mentioned two of them, they start leading by example first.
Those two that Pete Limbo referring to there, Dakereon Joyner and Nick Muse, have kind of stepped up, I think, or stood out to Limbo in particular here early on in spring practice from the Gamecock perspective. Bill, I know we are guilty, and it's really easy to kind of oversell differences between the Shane Beamer coaching staff and Will Muschamp coaching staff, because I think we saw guys sacrificing and playing special teams in that Will Muschamp era. I think it was Deebo Samuel playing gunner, Shi Smith playing gunner out there on punt returns, and clearly the highly productive players on offense still played on special teams, and that was the culture of that team. Do you think there will be some sort of culture shift there? And the Muschamp era has gotten the reputation of being too much about the individual and not enough about the team. And what we just heard about sacrificing and the culture there, I feel like we didn't hear that a lot from Will Muschamp, at least publicly. That doesn't mean that wasn't stressed behind closed doors or part of that Muschamp culture. I feel like we are in danger of overselling this thing, but certainly things need to improve from that standpoint for Shane Beamer and company moving forward from just a team playing togetherness, if you will, for lack of a better phrase, don't you think?
Yeah, but I feel like when you get a new coach in or a new coaching staff, three things are emphasized, right? You always hear three certain things. Offensively, we're going to attack. We're going to be multiple. We're going to attack. We're going to throw the ball. We're going to score points. Defensively, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to get after the quarterback. We're going to pin our ears back and go after him. And you, with those two, you're like, well, please, that's what we're hoping you're willing to do. I would never want my offensive coordinator to go, yeah, we're going to be very basic, very vanilla. It's going to be easy to figure out what we're doing. And defensively, you never want to hear a guy go, yeah, we're going to basically play a prevent defense. And Well, really, all our goal is to keep the team out of the end zone. The third thing I feel like you always hear is some kind of dedication to special teams. Now, whether that happens or not, I feel like it's something that's always said by a new coaching staff. And in this situation, I feel like what you're hearing is a renewed dedication to special teams. Look, Will Muschamp, one of the things he said he was good at was coaching special teams. And, there were times I feel like he basically said, hey, I need to let my coaches coach and do what I do, which is recruit and coach special teams. And I don't think South Carolina special teams were ever awful. I don't think they were. I don't even know if you'd classify them as bad. I don't think that they also necessarily won South Carolina any games. Now, Joseph Charlton obviously went on to go to who's he with? Which NFL? Why am I drawing a blank on who he's with?
It's pretty far away, all the way up I-77.
It is the
Carolina
Panthers. Yeah,
Panthers.
it is the Panthers. Like I went to say the Panthers, and I was like, wait, I don't know if that's right. But Joseph Charlton obviously was very good. Parker White, who I think has been here for 12 years now, didn't he start with Spurrier?
He did not.
Seriously, wasn't Parker White like a walk-on for Spurrier? Am I wrong about that, or did he show up for the start of the Muschamp era?
He might have been watching Spurrier games in the stands. I think that's his story, right? His first year, he was watching games in the stands. But no, I don't think that was.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It went from Elliott Fry to Parker White. I think was there someone in between there? But
No, I think you're right.
But I say all that. I say all that because there were some consistencies to it, but it was never great. It was never bad. Did we ever give Chris Culliver credit for becoming, the school's all-time leading return guy in terms of yardage? And I think that was under Beamer's watch.
No,
But
not
that's
credit.
yeah, we didn't do that. And then you got Deebo Samuel, as Chris points out on the live stream, and Chris says Deebo made Muschamp special teams look good. Well, people also had to block, and Deebo certainly had to learn a few things. Like, are we not going to give Muschamp any credit? Is that all on Deebo?
Well, also that it wasn't a Muschamp recruit, I think, and the way that he termed things coming in, that the speed just needed to get better, and then once he had his guys there, we didn't see a notable marked improvement. I think that's part of that. Craig says Parker White was right after Reed Morton. Nice. I'm surprised you can go Colin Mackey on us there. Nice work, Craig. I think he was joking. Bill, take it easy. He's ready to lay the smack down on.
Well, no, I got my Reed. I thought Reed Morton was a pitcher for. I guess I'm getting
Need a break.
Oggles a few years ago.
Yeah, you're getting your Reeds mixed up, I believe. That was Reed Morgan, I believe.
Morgan.
Very close. Very close.
Yeah.
As you were talking about that, excuse me, and Will Muschamp coming really to the conclusion, I felt like at the end of his South Carolina tenure, talking about where he needs to kind of stay in his lane with defense and special teams. That was also mentioned yesterday by Pete Limbo. Said he was proud of the job and impressed of the job that Shane Beamer is doing in recruiting, and then letting his coordinators, having the trust in his coordinators. He mentioned the 3 coordinators, and I had to kind of do a double take on that one. It's like 3 coordinators. Oh, you're talking about yourself and be the special teams coordinator. Got it. Offensive and defensive coordinators. But so early on in his tenure, being hands off enough and trusting those guys enough to focus on the head coaching jobs of recruiting and doing other head coaching deals. I don't think we ever heard Will Muschamp assistants talking in that way. And that's certainly kind of the opposite reputation that Muschamp came to earn, fair or not. We'll continue to discuss a bunch of Gamecock football. Love to hear from you. 803-404-6100. You can call or text on the show. You're listening to the early game here. It's 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. New head football coach Shane Beamer.
I'm a process-driven person, and we're going to get started day one, advancing this program and making it better.
107.5 The Game.
I know it's cliche, but
I suggest you use a guru. And the good news for you, I have got a mortgage guru lined up for you. Jacob Crowder, the mortgage guru with First Palmetto Bank. Give him a phone call this morning, 803-719-1005. You can email him, the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER, at firstpalmetto.com. Jacob and Brian Kovar are helping people save 2 $400 if you're refinancing, and they're helping people get into new homes with great interest rates. So if you've been thinking about making the move, now is the time to do it. Brian wants me to tell you, don't get caught watching the paint dry. Matter of fact, give him a call today and tell him that. 803-719-1005. He's Jacob Crowder. He's Brian Kovar. Jacob, the mortgage guru with First Palmetto Bank.
Lane. I don't remember seeing Lane before. Welcome, sir, on the YouTube live stream. Yeah. At the school record.
Do what?
Well, Elliott Fry setting the school record for points in his career, I believe, beating Reed Morton's school record.
Okay.
I feel like that will be kind of the way Will Muschamp is remembered, for sure. And then did you hear Frank talking about this yesterday? What Travis is going off on about how he didn't have a room to meet with recruits for the year or two or something?
Yeah, I was trying to think of when they redid the
I think it's exactly when they redid it.
was it the year after? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Carolina Coliseum and the offices there.
who was it who scratched? Remember they were going to build over there by the Doty? They were going to build a basketball facility for practice.
Yeah.
Practice only. And I'm trying to think of, was it Tanner that basically scratched that, or was it Hyman that scratched that?
I think it was in Ray Tanner's time, but I think it was just a money thing. Like they just couldn't get the money right for that.
You know, well, and I've been in there. I'll say that I think the facility that they have, you could spruce it up a little bit more. And it's odd if you've ever been downstairs in the Carolina Coliseum. It's kind of a maze, but they've actually done a decent job with it. It's not, I mean, it's not top half or really even top third of the SEC, but it does look better.
And for those of us who remember the old Elephant Room, it's a lot different.
Old Elephant Room, yep. That's true. I forgot about that. So does anybody know a distinct difference? I mean, like what the difference is? Where's David? Is David still on? He's a principal. He should know this. I don't know what it is without looking it up. Between a wasp and a hornet, or a yellow jacket and a hornet?
Thanks, Lane. I know a yellow jacket dies when it stings you, right? A bee.
Uh-huh.
The hornet and the wasp, that's where I get confused too. I was talking to my kids about that the other day. I got no idea.
Because yesterday I had a hornet building a nest right above my door going out to the lake, right in the middle. And then on the left side, just about less than about 6 feet down from it, was a either I don't know what it was because I stepped on it. I got two different. I was told it was either a wasp or a yellow jacket, but yeah, there was a hornet right in the middle.
About a hornet is a specific type of wasp, usually a little rounder and fatter than the common wasp. I'm reading. Hornets are known to be less aggressive than wasps if unprovoked. That's because hornets and wasps don't die after stinging, as their stingers are not pulled out of their bodies. I don't know if that helps at all, but that's something on the internet that I felt like I needed to read, apparently.
It's very interesting. I got rid of both of them. One of them just had his nest knocked down, or what he was starting to build, and then we sprayed some stuff there so he wouldn't come back. The other one wouldn't leave, so unfortunately he got knocked down and then stepped on.
A couple of facts here. There are more than 100,000 different types of wasps.
Okay.
And only female wasps can sting.
How about that?
Doggone it.
How exactly?
Jen,
That does sound
can we do
about right.
Frank here?
What Frank do you want?
Number 4, please.
Okay.
Straight on it.
This university has paid me a boatload of. Why am I going to drag them into the mud for selfish reasons? Everything moving forward.
Frank Martin, part of was an hour and 15 minutes or so yesterday, a very lengthy press conference that, not surprised, I should say that it was a lengthy press conference. It covered a lot of ground and got into the last month. Frank calling it a very typical last month from his perspective, as how he usually does things. Takes about 2 weeks before he does player exit interviews, talks to athletics director Ray Tanner. Now, it did admit that they talked more this year and said that was pretty obvious because things didn't go well, and termed it as his only bad year in his entire career of coaching. And talking about that boatload of money that the university paid him, I thought was a refreshing departure of honesty from coaches that make boatloads of money in college athletics. We don't hear about that very often. As Bill throws on his shades as the sun continues to get brighter off the banks of Lake Murray there in the sunroom. Mm-hmm. Your biggest takeaway from yesterday, Bill? Mine is that I think Frank Martin and South Carolina got to the best place they could get to at this point after just a disastrous year in multiple ways. That he gets another shot at it, a shot that I think he deserves, because we talked about it, I forget when, a couple of weeks ago. This is what it comes down to me. I think Frank is one of the better coaches in college basketball. South Carolina needs one of the best coaches in college basketball to be relevant. And he gets another shot to prove that he can do it. He has done it once before. Now, I think the problem a lot of Gamecock fans have is that it's only been one NCAA trip in the 9 years that he's been here. But as you point out many times, Bill, that's the average for the program. And I think it's easier for South Carolina basketball to get back to the NCAA tournament at this point with Frank Martin in charge than it would be bringing in somebody else new. But either way that was going to go, it was going to be a bit of a reset from a roster standpoint. And Frank, talking about the transfers in and out of the program, interesting to hear yesterday as well. What's your big takeaway?
Well, again, as we get everything settled, my focus moves toward next season and what this team will look like, so that then you can set an expectation. Because as I was saying, you throw out the first 2 years, which is kind of fair, as he rebuilt from the Darren Horn era. Frank Martin's team, the anomalies are the Final Four run and this year, right? Like the best year was the anomaly was the Final Four run. That was a year that we don't see. And this year, again, 6 wins is not what we see. You usually see a Frank Martin team win between 16 and 18 games and kind of had themselves on the bubble. That's been kind of what everything else has been for Frank Martin's team. So I was more interested in hearing the discussion about the roster to start to set some kind of expectation for the 2021-2022 season. Because I'm not in the camp that, I see the people who are on Twitter or on the message boards and they say, oh, this team is going to be a disaster and they'll be lucky to win 8 games. I don't see that. That's not what Frank Martin's teams do. I think that they'll put themselves in position to make the NIT. I think that they'll be an okay team. I don't think it's going to be some dumpster fire, but I want to see the ingredients of the basketball team. So I was interested yesterday to hear him talk about the future and what the roster was going to look like. He kind of addressed the A.J. Lawson situation about Lawson having to be careful with what he's going to do. I thought that was kind of interesting. It kind of hinted, somebody sent me a text message and I never followed up on it yesterday. How many times can you enter your name in the NBA draft? Because the way it was kind of hinted yesterday by Frank Martin is if Lawson enters his name again for a third time, that he can't withdraw his name regardless of the agent situation. You're nodding your head. Have you looked that up? Or you?
That's how I understand it as well.
Okay, so you've got that, and then the way he said it made me believe that Jermaine Couisnard and Keyshawn Bryant are going to be back. Jermaine Couisnard needs to play better. I mean, we've talked about it. I've seen Keyshawn Bryant and Jermaine Couisnard contribute at the SEC level. We've seen that. Now, Couisnard stunk this year. There's nobody arguing that. I don't know what happened. And maybe we get that addressed at some point. Maybe he lost confidence. Maybe the way they tried to use him didn't work. Maybe it's all of the above. I have no idea. But Jermaine Couisnard was not good this year. But I've seen him contribute at a high SEC level. He is a guy who can play in this league. And if he comes back and Keyshawn Bryant comes back, you go, okay, well, that's a pretty solid foundation. 2 guys there. And then we see what A.J. Lawson does there. And unfortunately, at that point, there's 3 guys. Now you look around and you go, okay, now you got to find an extra scholarship, because if my numbers are right now they're sitting with 11 scholarship players without Bryant, Couisnard, and Lawson. So maybe there's one more defection. Maybe there's not. You bring those 3 back. I don't know. We still continue to do that. But I'm not going to try and tell anybody this is an NCAA tournament team next year. But I think the pieces are a little bit better than what some are thinking. I think that Frank Martin, like you said, is a better coach than 6-15. And so I think it's going to be interesting. I'm not going to get my hopes up, and I wouldn't encourage anybody else, but I think it's going to be interesting to see what this basketball team does next year. And you ask, what was I most intrigued by? It's what happens now. All right, how do you get past 6-15? How do you get past, what just happened the last month and a half with contract negotiations and things that played out maybe a little bit too publicly regarding a senator and the president of the university. So all that being said, what happens now? And I feel like we did get some of those answers yesterday, but now we still wait to see Bryant, Couisnard, even Lawson, and what their decision is.
Way before that, we'll get to see what happens now with Gamecock baseball tonight. 8 o'clock first pitch in game number 2 in the LSU series. What we've seen recently is Carolina has bounced back from a series opening loss like they had last night in the last 2 series. They bounced back to win the last 2 games. At LSU is a bit of a different animal. I guess at Georgia, actually, I think they've had less success recently than they've had at LSU. So not out of the realm of possibility for sure. Brandon Jordan will be the guy that gets the ball and will be in charge of getting the Gamecocks back in it from the pitching perspective. But the bats will have to do a lot better than they did last night. 16 strikeouts, just 3 hits in the 5-1 loss to LSU, where Mark Kingston, I think, surprised it certainly surprised me. I know surprised at least one of you asking about the lineup change. We'll get into some of those details as we continue to roll on this morning. You're listening to the early game, 803-404-6100. If you would like to join us on the phone lines or on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, it's 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks and new head coach Shane Beamer, 107.5 The Game.
Today is an absolute dream come true, not just to be a head football coach, but to be the head coach at the University of South Carolina.
Welcome, Coach.
From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of.
Yeah, Lane, I'm with you. He deserves another chance. But I mean, yes, he has so much for the program. Just look back to Darren. Yeah, I mean,
He's done so much. Sure is what he said. Good morning, Hope. Hope, my question to you is, what number of YouTube subscribers would make you feel good going into the weekend? And that's what we'll try to do this morning. I think we're up to 720 last I saw, Jen.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We can do better. And if Hope is good with where we're at, then I'm good with it as well.
I think it's is Patrick good with where it's at?
No,
That's what
Patrick's
I'm
never
worried
going to be good. 750.
750?
Okay, aggressive.
Oh wait, that's the number. I thought that's where we were at.
No, I think she's saying that's what will be good. Don't think it'll happen, but sounds good to me. Now, your name is Hope. What kind of attitude is that?
What you do?
She says she doesn't think 750 is going to happen, but it sounds good to me. Oh,
Well, no, it won't happen today. I don't think it'll happen today, but
you guys, unbelievable. All right, I'm going on the social media blitz right now.
we're at 723.
It's 27? Come on, we can do that. All right.
Oh, I think we lost some people because Pearson got on with chicken bone hot sauce. That would explain the issues here.
No, I think that's great. Got to give people some extra content if they're going to subscribe, man.
Yeah, it was. This is Gamecock baseball just made you wake up grumpy Hope. Oh boy,
I can see that.
need to have a donut and a cup of coffee. Cheers you up. We discussed donuts earlier.
That's Bill's cure-all for everything. Have a donut.
Have you ever seen anybody be unhappy eating a donut? Doesn't happen.
Good
Put a
question.
donut.
I mean,
If
good
somebody
point.
looks angry or sad, you put a donut in their hand. Solves everything. I've never seen anybody not smiling when they're eating a donut. A cheese Danish. Yeah. It's not a donut. It's not a donut. Speaking of donuts, I need to get myself back in the gym. I haven't been in a month and a half. No donuts for a baseball team that only gets one hit or one run and strikes out 16 times. Donuts are for winners. Got to bounce back tonight. Cheese Danish from Starbucks. What'd that cost you? $13.50? Couldn't have been cheap. It's true. A muffin is a breakfast cupcake. Yeah. It depends on what kind of muffin. I mean, Trey, a brand muffin, you really treating that like a cupcake? You got good old fashioned blueberry. You know who's got really good
terrible
muffins?
cupcake?
You know who's got really good muffins? Lowe's Foods. I tell you what's a surprising underrated muffin. Underrated muffin is pistachio muffin.
Oh, we just got one of the best texts I've ever seen.
All loans are subject to approval. First Palmetto is an equal housing lender, a member of the FDIC, and my NMLS number is 198432.
Mark, that's not a decision, sir. How dare you? We are on a drive for 750 YouTube page subscribers. This last 70 minutes of this show is going to be off. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be probably the greatest 70 minutes of your life.
Well, okay.
It's going to be 40 minutes for you. Is that hype?
I have heard the sugar-coated twist at Circle K. I've never had one, but yeah, Lowe's muffins are really good. And again, pistachio. Underrated.
You guys are up.
You remind me of like Mario and Mario Kart when you're mimicking driving. Was that
I mean,
you can't rotate, Bill. You can't rotate your trunk around if you're driving, if you're piloting a fighter jet. Like,
I mean,
Yeah, you're pretty strapped in there, buddy.
well, I was thinking of flying a commercial airline. I can't imagine,
You
but I
still
guess
don't twist. You're still strapped
commercial
in.
airliner.
they put me in charge of a lot of people's
Worst
lives.
Top Gun movie ever.
No, isn't that I haven't seen it, but in that airplane, it's not. It's
The comedic one, yeah.
And you know you just ticked a whole bunch of people off saying you haven't seen Airplane, right? You got that? I think you're
that's a '70s movie, isn't it? That's a
Like
No.
right at 1980, I think.
is it? Okay.
But still, it's one of those that you hear about and then you go watch. It doesn't matter if you were born then or not.
right. But this is a guy that hasn't seen Wizard of Oz. So
Go ahead. No, I've seen Wizard of Oz.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe he felt kind of threatened by the. Anyway,
The
I
Lion.
think you were claiming at one point not to have seen Wizard of Oz on this show.
No, I was held down by family members early in life and forced to watch Wizard of Oz multiple times.
All right, we're getting off track. I need to get to this comment from our buddy Twig. Okay. He does say big game. I think they will bounce back. Maybe the baseball team just needs some donuts. But also in this says Mark Kingston needs to switch the order back for us to have a chance. I didn't see a huge shift. Now, I was watching the beginning of the game with my 8-year-old and 6-year-old, and they're like, George Khalil, what's he doing up there? George Khalil up in the 2 hole for the Gamecocks. last night and Braylon Wimmer down at the bottom of the lineup. That was basically the big switch, and that was pretty much all I saw. You guys saw more than that. It was just one guy who has been hitting well in Khalil and another guy who hasn't been hitting well in Wimmer, and he just switched it. And that 9-hole spot is basically another leadoff guy. So you want to have a guy there with speed, ideally, and Wimmer is that guy in the Gamecocks lineup. Now, it didn't work yesterday, no doubt about it.
It didn't matter who was in what order. The pitcher had their number.
16 strikeouts.
He glazed over that one. He went over that one, Jen, but I see what you were trying to do. Smooth. Tim just didn't want to go with that one. But 16 strikeouts. I didn't like the Wimmer move, Tim. I understand what you're saying. That was the only change, but I still didn't. I don't know what the. I feel like that's an analytics thing that he did last night, right?
I feel like it's the opposite. If a guy's struggling, you move him down the lineup. That has nothing to do with analytics.
Why do you do that? I'm asking. Baseball, like what you say that you played college baseball. You were on the team, I reckon. Like what is the thinking about? Okay, a guy's struggling, so you just move him down the lineup. Why do you do that?
To get better pitches. You're going to get more fastballs if you're the 9-hole hitter in the lineup than you are when you're the 2-hole guy.
Yeah, I'm asking. We're talking some technical aspects of baseball here, which is wildly out of character for the show. But people have film on Wimmer. They know he is a good hitter. Yeah, he's in a slump. You say he's going to get more fastballs. I feel like the scouting report on him still says probably the same thing, whether he's hitting at the 2 spot or the 9 spot. So when you say, well, he's going to get more fastballs in the 9 spot, I don't know if I agree with that because, again, there's a scouting report on him. We know, or right. I would assume LSU knows Braylon Wimmer is a really good hitter. So just because he's now in the 9 spot doesn't mean, oh, well, he stinks. Let's throw him more fastballs. I'm with Twig, with Steven on this. I didn't look. I don't think that's the reason. I'm with you as well. I don't think that's the reason that South Carolina lost last night.
No, exactly. That was my point. Also, Khalil, probably the best bunter on the team. You have him in the 2-hole spot to get over a leadoff runner in Brady Allen. It's a right move hypothetically. It didn't work out, but that's not the reason for a loss. I'm a fan of a manager who shakes up the lineup relatively consistently unless you're just cruising offensively. The Gamecocks were on a good little run there, but you're going up against LSU. It was a tough task. They weren't up to it last night. We'll see if the lineup switches back and where Carolina is tonight. Again, 8 o'clock is first pitch tonight for Gamecocks and LSU in game number 2 of the series. Hour 3 coming up here on the early. Shin got so fascinated with that conversation.
Do what?
I think we sidetracked Jen because she got so fascinated with our baseball conversation.
Seriously. No, I love baseball. So.
All right. I'm trying to look to see here if Airplane is.
I would have guessed 1982 is Airplane.
No, it's 1980. Airplane 2 is 1982.
Don't watch that one.
All right, let's see here. Oh, how about this? All right. So I know we're not into the movie thing anymore. I don't know if we want to. So I guess we need to find out. It says with a premium subscription on Amazon Prime, I can watch Airplane.
You don't have the Prime?
No, I do. I'm going to look right now.
Good. So you just wanted to brag that you had the Prime?
No, what I was going to say is, should I watch?
No, not during the show.
Not during the show?
This is not pandemic radio.
No, and you have to pay attention because there's just a whole bunch of inside jokes and,
witty banter.
Yeah. You're on the phone with Mayo and you're with Dr. Ham and you're on the Ham, hold the Mayo. Yeah, you got to listen.
Exactly, DC. Kevin, no doubt. But this is not in Bill Gunter's wheelhouse.
But you get to see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
True. Yep, Movie Tuesdays. Oh, no. Bill, are you watching it already?
I'm watching the
No, Twig. Mendham is not a two-hole guy, man.
All right, I will. So I guess I have a weekend. What I will commit to is weekend homework of watching the movie Airplane.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna hate that review. I can tell you right now.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna hate that review?
Because you're not going to give it the props it deserves.
I don't know. It was funny just watching the little trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty funny.
Well, and I'm wondering, there might actually be just on Amazon Prime, good chance there might be a smidge of nudity on there. Just saying. Don't know if that motivates you any more or less, but just.
I have never heard that phrase in my life, but it is a fantastic phrase that I will use now forever. A smidge of nudity.
Yeah.
Wait, why does it say?
Yeah, we're talking about Airplane, Sonny, the movie Airplane.
Yeah.
Oh, nice Friday, Twig. Good for you. Gonna watch Dustin Johnson, Wesley Bryan. Dustin 1 under, Wesley 3 under after the first round. Oh, and believe me, I'm just disagreeing with you. That's all. No, you don't, Trey. That would be actually pretty awesome. The movie.
I gotta get caught up on the comments here.
The live stream. Have you watched an Airplane?
Live movie companion of Bill and Airplane. But it's such an involved movie that you can't do it.
I think you'd be too distracted.
Yeah. Good point, Craig. Amazing. Jen, you should get royalties.
All right. When I make my million, I won't leave.
And I want to start with that last thing that you just cut, Jen, the short version of Frank. 11 seconds. Thank you.
Wow, they want you to buy this movie. You got to pay $13.99. All right, I'll check more into this.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on.
I like that band idea, Craig.
You have to pay $13 to watch Airplane?
If you want to buy it,
Oh, yeah, no.
I can rent it for $3.99.
I thought you
I
said
have
it.
to research this.
get it
Something
for
looks
free.
wrong with my Prime Video. I don't. It says it's free.
The premium Prime subscription. You're on the cheap Prime.
I don't. Yeah. What? I don't. Now I'm wondering what I'm paying for.
All right.
Ooh, Super Billfish with David Attenborough.
Sir David Attenborough.
They were telling me yesterday. I was talking to some people out here. Dolphin fishing. You know, mahi season is coming up. 1 hour of competitive cheer. That's just to be able to pull in the parking lot, Trey.
I hope that you're all into glitter, sparkles.
Jen, we've done a show for 5 years. I think you know I'm fully invested in glitter and sparkles.
Well, I'm kind of thinking, yeah, you're really going to be a great cheer mom.
I'm not buying. Hope, guys. I'm telling you, I can rent Airplane for $3.99.
I probably have it on DVD.
Rent it for $3. Do you? Well, I do have a DVD player here somewhere.
Probably better off renting it. It's
Going
worth it.
fishing for sharks? Oh boy. Take pictures and send those.
We had sharks in the house.
Sharks in the house. Oh, and somebody asked earlier. Yes, I have seen snakes on a plane. I forget. I did see snakes on a plane.
You've seen snakes on a plane, but not Airplane.
Well, snakes on a plane came out more recently than Airplane.
It sure did.
Still.
Sure did.
No, not still. Like, I mean, that's how it goes.
Icky.
Jen, we doing 2 breaks this hour?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I need to send you guys those.
What lives do I have?
Zero Res at 8:10, and then Bill has AAA at 8:40.
Thank you.
Wait, I got what at 8:40?
Oh, good gravy. This is just how this morning has gone.
What do I got at 8:40?
Triple A.
Triple A?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Today has been Monday all morning.
No, it's been Friday all morning.
Nope, not in this room.
Today, oh, that's just one of the weird rooms.
Yep. It's a vortex.
Top Gun, Hope. Top Gun. You're waiting patiently for Tom Cruise's return.
No.
No, that's what Hope's waiting for. She said, "I'm just
Oh.
waiting on July 2nd to be the first in line at the movie theaters."
Song just on a loop. It will play it at like 10 and 20 and 30 minutes after the hour.
How about that? End the show, huh? I sat differently today, so I was not staring right at the computer. You've seen how I've sat? I wasn't looking at the time.
Now, here's Tim Hill and Bill Gunter
Takes a village to raise Bill. Really does.
on 107.5 The Game.
You guys are up.
Contrary to popular belief sometimes around here, because I don't know, this place kind of loves gloom and doom. It gets real popular when it's gloom and doom. When it's success, it's kind of real quiet, especially in my sport.
Frank Martin, part of an epic press conference yesterday that didn't come out of the blue by any stretch of the imagination and kind of expected, but it was about an hour and 15 minutes. And going back through what has happened in the last few weeks after the disappointing 6-15 season, and with just 2 years left on his contract, a now 2-year contract extension to stay at Carolina. Bill, we've talked about it mostly off the air through the years, how that's exactly how it is. My question is it Gamecock fans or the culture around Columbia, South Carolina that's like that, or is it just what sports talk radio and maybe the sports media climate is in 2021, what you just heard from Frank Martin? Things get loud with doom and gloom and things are going poorly. And when things are going well, you just don't hear a lot.
I mean, I don't know if I agree with that. Like, was it 2 years ago, going into the 8-13 season, or prior to the 8-13 season? All we talked
18 and 13, you're talking about,
18,
right?
I'm sorry, 18 and 13. But going into that season, wasn't there a lot of excitement? Wasn't there a lot of that's even, I think even Frank said it. He had not felt the passion or the energy that he had felt leading up to that season. Like, there was
buzz,
and that wasn't off of a great season the year prior. It was off of a good ending, but it wasn't off of a great season. I mean, I think people get excited when South Carolina's winning. That arena fills up. It gets talked about. Now, I will say that when it goes downhill, or when they're 500, yes, there is a difference. There is not a gray area for South Carolina basketball. When they're winning, there's 14, 15,000 people in that arena. People are excited. People are fired up. I've seen it with Darren Horn. I've seen it with Dave Odom. I've seen it with Darren Horn. I've seen it with Frank Martin. Okay, it doesn't matter the coach. Doesn't matter the players. South Carolina fans, like any fan base out there, they get excited for a winner. Okay, they fill the arena. They show up in the Vista. They tailgate a little bit prior to the game. They go down. Everybody gets fired up. It's a pretty good home court advantage at that point when you get 14 or 15,000 people in there, and we discuss it. It gets talked about on radio. When they're average, when they're 500, he is right. I don't disagree with him at all. When they're average, people just around here tune out basketball. They start talking about baseball. They start talking about football recruiting. He's right. When they're average, people kind of just gloss over it. It's just an event to watch on the weekend or on Tuesday or Wednesday night. I totally agree with him there. When they're bad, as is with every sport, when they're bad, yes, then people start wanting to discuss firing the coach or running off players or what can we do, woe is me kind of attitude. So it is kind of interesting in that but when they're good, man, people are fired up. When they're really good, people are fired up and they're going to games, and it's a fun environment to be in. When they're bad, he's right. They do talk about it, and it gets brought up a lot more often. But when they're average, and I think this is what bothers Frank, is when they're average, when they're right there on the borderline, and maybe a few more people in the crowd at Colonial Life, maybe people kind of rallying behind the program could push them over the hump, yeah, that's when nobody seems to really. That's when it goes really vanilla around here, or kind of fades into the background behind upcoming baseball season or behind football recruiting signing day.
Let's go out to the Love Chevy phone line, see what you have to say about this. 803-404-6100 is the number. Jason up first here in hour number 3 on that Love Chevy phone line. Hey, Jason.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Thanks for taking the call. I don't really like agreeing with Bill, but I have to. He's right, and I can agree that I'm one of those guys. When we're bad, I'm very vocal, but we're also I've had plenty of guys who went to Madison Square Garden for the game against Florida and went to the Final Four, and we were there for that, and we're loud and cheering. And when we felt like we got shafted from the tournament, we were loud and championing for Frank's team. When we felt like we got shafted, and I think that's every fan base. When everything's going right, it's all good. But then when things go a little wrong, you want to see your team do well. I'm gonna hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate the phone call, Jason. Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Anonymous texter, I think Frank is having a little recency bias. Lately, he's not done much to have the crowd excited, so it's doom and gloom and talk of what we can do and what's next. Back when he was doing something good during the Final Four run, I think you heard lots and lots of people cheering and talking about how great things were. Richard says Frank couldn't be more wrong. Carolina fans get super high when teams doing well, but yes, the bottom falls out when we stink. Problem is men's basketball has been stinking for a while, so to him, it should seem like doom and gloom. Scott says the problem is that folks get so hyped preseason about some of these teams that their in-season performances result in disappointment. And Joel says, I thought Frank Martin was quite good overall yesterday and actually gave me some hope for next season. But that comment about the fans not saying anything when things are good, that was rather whiny coach speak. Bill, here's where I think the disconnect is. Because you heard Mike Yuva brought up the point that Frank and South Carolina had been tied for third, I think, going into this season with most SEC wins in a 5-year, 6-year period, whatever it was. And Frank was like, oh, keep telling people. I'd forgotten that in the whole thing. I think what Frank is talking about good when things are good is during that period, right? I think what Gamecock fans think of as good college basketball team is a team that makes the NCAA tournament. And it's that pass-fail mentality. If you don't make the NCAA tournament, you can't be seen from the fan standpoint, I think, as a good basketball team. I think Frank Martin and maybe other coaches out there think that if you are top half of your conference and you're a Power 5, you're a good basketball team, no matter whether you make that NCAA tournament or not. And you're going to have a few bad losses on the resume because of the nature of college basketball these days, and you're still a good team. Are you with me on this disconnect, or do you see it a different way?
It's interesting the way you word that. Obviously, the NCAA tournament is the end all be all, and all the stats. And this is the weird thing about, because it is we live in a football, and I think Frank acknowledges this, and this is where he maybe tries to fight and argue, and fans don't want to hear it. We live in a football-centric area, okay? So everything's related to football. What Frank Martin has done in his tenure would have him in, I don't know what did we say, 4 out of 6 seasons they had winning records. Let me go back and look real quick, because where I'm going with this is, if you compared Frank Martin's tenure to football, and I know you can't do this, and maybe people are scratching their head saying, where's he going with this? But if you took Frank Martin's record and you compared it to football, he'd have gone to 5 bowl games, and one of them, the Final Four, would have been basically a Big Six New Year's Day, not a New Year's Day game. Those aren't New Year's Day games anymore. But you get my point. Like, we would be celebrating basically how many bowl games in a row? Let's see. He was 17-16 in 2014, 2015. That would have basically a winning record. What you go to a bad Birmingham Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm. Independence
then you
Bowl,
get the 25-9, the 26-11. That's 2 winning seasons in the SEC, 11-7, 12-6. You get the great run. Those would have been the equivalent of an Outback and a Citrus Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
17-16, 7-11 in conference the next year. That's probably sending you back to Birmingham or Shreveport, something like that. 16-16, okay, and they went 11-7 in conference. Maybe you end up in another bad bowl, and then 18-13 is the equivalent of a belt bowl. The only reason you compare it to football, and we would be championing. Fans would be very happy, I think, with a football coach if Shane Beamer goes to 6 bowl games in 6 straight years, including a Big 6 game. Everybody's pretty happy with him, right?
I don't think that phrase is what it used to be, with bowl games being what they are these days. And
Is it?
Yeah. Well, that's how I see it anyway. And I don't think you can do it, man. It just, I get the analogy, but it's just different. And it's the pass fail. It's not a pass fail anymore. It used to be in football, bowl game or no bowl game. You make a bowl game, good season. If you don't, bad season. That fail part still exists, but the pass part is no longer there with the proliferation of so many bowl games out there. And especially last year, South Carolina, technically, they made a bowl last season. We know that, right? At 2-8, which is the most ridiculous thing of all time.
Again.
So I don't think you can look at it that way anymore. And we saw it in the Will Muschamp era. It was one bowl game win in that Outback Bowl of whatever it was 4 years ago now, in the 9-4 season. And then after that, it didn't matter that they went to the belt bowl. Bill, I get it that Virginia game was disastrous in so many ways, but had they won that game by the same final score that they lost it, and then the same thing would have happened afterwards, would people have felt better? I don't think so. So I just don't think you can look at it quite that way. I do agree. This is part of the mentality that a Gamecock basketball coach has always had to work against because of the focus on football. And Frank kept telling us yesterday during the press conference, he's an old offensive lineman and trying to speak the football first mentality or the that mindset. But I certainly agree with him to an extent that the basketball program doesn't get the good vibes and the support when it's doing just above average, right? Which could be looked at as good.
Right.
They have to be really good for a fan base to kind of rally. And really good in the SEC is really difficult because usually that means, hey, you got to beat Kentucky or you got to beat Florida. And you got to do more than finish third in the conference in just conference-only games. You also got to make sure you don't have bad losses on the resume, man, and disappoint a fan base in that period of the year in December where the transition is going from football to basketball. And if you do that, you're losing a lot of fans, and I think that's what we've seen in the last few years.
And some of it is those losses have just come after really good wins. Like go back to last year, the 18-13 season, not the 6-15, but the 18-13 season, 18-13. They beat Virginia, they beat Clemson. It looks like the program is about to really get rolling. And then what's the game they lose at home? Stetson. Awful loss, just absolutely brutal loss. You get rolling in the middle of the season. It looks like you're going to have a chance to make the NCAA tournament, and you lose to a Vanderbilt team that's bad at the end of the season. NCAA tournament hopes are online. It seems like the losses come when South Carolina's got a chance to break through. But I'll just, again, I'll point this out. It's interesting to me, and I'm not saying that fans should accept it. Please, if you're listening, don't think I'm trying to tell you, hey, you need to accept what's happening and sit down and enjoy it. That's not what we're saying. What I do think the interesting part of this is South Carolina basketball prior to this year was on a run of 6 years that was the most successful 6 years they've had in almost the last 50. And you can say, well, that's good enough. Let's take it to another level. I agree with that. But that was the most successful run. So then the question becomes, all right, you're setting a foundation. How long do you give a coach to take that next step? Baylor did it with Scott Drew. Scott Drew's been there. We figured out 19 years, 18 years,
right? Crazy.
And it took him 5 or 6. Look, he got it going quicker than Frank did, because they started getting to the NCAA. They kept making NCAAs. Then obviously everything paid off this past year. But the question is, for a program like South Carolina, with South Carolina's basketball history, how long is too long to give a coach? I think South Carolina's, you're right. Look at South Carolina's been patient with coaches. Dave Odom got 8 years, 9 years. Is that right?
It was a while. I'll
Something
look
like
it
that.
up, but somewhere at least in that.
Dave Odom was given time. Eddie Fogler was going to be given more time. That the reason he left was not necessarily because South Carolina fired him. 9 years is fine. South Carolina is patient with basketball coaches. Steve Newton and Darren Horn needed to be fired. There was no questions about that. George Felton was fired for an entirely different reason than wins and losses. South Carolina, in its last 30 years, has been very patient with coaches.
7 years of the Dave Odom era. I'm going back and looking at it, which seems I thought it would have been at least 8, 9 or so. That shows you the don't rely on the memory when it comes to stuff like that. 803-404-6100. Would love to hear your thoughts there. Interesting text in from Jay from the Interstate on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, 803-404-6100. The problem is things should be improving and building, but it feels like the program has become stagnant. He can't live in the past, talking about Frank Martin. Jay concludes, when the present and future aren't good. And I'm guessing he would take exception about the future, at least. Certainly the last year wasn't good. But when you put it like he put it, it's the only bad year of his entire coaching tenure. I think that does excuse the first couple of years where the South Carolina basketball program, anybody could have coached them, and they weren't going to win a lot of games. I understand that, but it's an interesting exercise in evaluating a coach and a program where we are right now with Frank Martin and company. And that press conference yesterday had so many different angles.
And again, I think it's interesting to talk about the future because it does look like the program's being blown up. But this conversation when we get to basketball season could be so interesting because I don't know how you judge so many new bodies, so many newcomers to the team. But if Cousinard and Bryant come back and you're returning 4, essentially, Alonzo Frank was a starter. He would have been a starter. He'll be back. Wildens Levesque right now appears to be back. He was a starter. It's almost like you can say, hey, you've got 3 guys back from a team that won 18 games. All right. Levesque didn't play a huge role with that team, but you've got 3 guys back from a team that won 18 games. You got 4 guys back that have got experience. I know we said that all last year. Hey, this is an experienced team. I don't get what happened. But then we're also going to look at it and say, but you've got a whole cast. Your bench is basically brand new players. It's going to be interesting to talk about this basketball team. I don't think people should tune them out and just wait and say, you know what, I'll pick it back up after next year and see where they stand. It's interesting. I would tell people not to have high expectations just because I think some people are hitting on it. For 2 or 3 years now, we've said, man, Lawson, Bryant, Cousinard, those 3 really good. Look at Manaya's a role player. He fits really good. And for whatever reason, this year in particular, the results really, really got out of hand. 2 years ago, there was some losses there that really made you scratch your head.
Well, I think also part of the frustration from the Gamecock fan base is that explanations you've heard about teams not getting to that next level in the past. Guys are young. They're freshmen. You need experience. Well, when you had experience this season, you didn't do anything with it. And then you hear Frank typically saying at the beginning part of the season or some of these bad losses that, hey, I'm still figuring out this player. As a player, they're still figuring me out. To me, college basketball has become a game of almost instantly adjusting. I mean, this past year is the best example, right? When John Calipari didn't have as much practice time to get those one-and-done guys in that he typically does, he couldn't figure it out. When Duke didn't have the preparation time, Duke couldn't even figure it out. It's a different game. I'm going to be really interested to hear if Frank Martin changes the way that he approaches it or the way that he explains the growing process and the team kind of maturing and coming together. The gelling process might be the best way to put that as next season goes on. We got to go on to a break right here in hour number 3. Love to continue to hear from you, whether it's by phone call or text message. Same number, 803-404-6100. You can also watch the live video stream up and rolling on Facebook Live, on Twitter at 1075 The Game, the station handle, and on YouTube Live, where we're looking to get to 750 subscribers by 9 o'clock to restore Hope's humanity, restore Hope's faith in humanity is what I'm trying to say, since she is in charge of our drive for subscribers on the YouTube channel and basically making Patrick Perret a happy man, who will be filling in for Pearson Fowler this afternoon from noon until 4, by the way. Be right
can
back.
Patrick really be happy? even
great.
with that, like
That's
what he
another
did.
Yes,
great
yes.
deep
You could,
point.
all you got to do if you just ask Patrick to start talking NFL draft, he's happy.
Yeah, those are one of the few things. It seems like he can get really shake his fist at the sun a lot. So
He does seem like for a 25-year-old, he does seem grumpy.
Yeah.
Most mornings, but he works hard.
oh, absolutely, no question. I just worry about him a little bit. So maybe you're right. Maybe if we get these numbers up, he'll just be perpetually happy Patrick.
I don't know about that. That would worry me the
Don't
most.
get your hopes up for
I
that.
don't want to see perpetually happy Patrick. That sounds
No.
weird. Montario Hardesty, the Gamecock running backs coach, speaking yesterday, and I feel like giving us a glimpse inside of how the Gamecocks offense will look in 2021. We'll get to that comment as well as continue this basketball conversation next here on the early game on 107.5 The Game.
This is South Carolina head women's basketball coach Dawn Staley, and you're listening to the home of the Gamecocks, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Hey, wanted to tell you about Zero Res. Zero Res carpet and air duct cleaning. Been out to my house a couple of times, done a great job cleaning my carpets, cleaned an area rug for me, freshened up the tiles in the kitchen and the bathroom. I think I have more respect now for Zero Res and not only what they do, but how they do it. Now that I have a 1-year-old and that's basically after 9 a.m. to about 7 p.m. I feel like that's my full-time job in a lot of ways, just making sure that guy doesn't waddle into something and get hurt. That's all part of what's going on in my house these days. That means I'm more associated with my floors, more familiar with my floors than I've ever been. And when Zero Res came out to my house, not only did they give me great results, but they gave me a peace of mind that no other carpet cleaning service can give because there's no harsh chemicals involved in the Zero Res process. They have a powered water system. Crank up the pH in the water. You can check out all the details, ZeroResColumbia.com. Also, no leftover soapy residue. That's why my carpets have stayed cleaner longer. Yours can as well, whether it's in your home or at your business. The commercial cleaning division at Zero Res working hard day and night, following all the CDC guidelines and making sure everything is as clean and sanitized as possible. Right now, they've got a great deal for you as well. 3 rooms of carpet clean, only $119 plus a free hallway when you mention me, Tim Hill. Check them out online. You can book your appointment right now at ZeroResColumbia.com. You can also give them a call at 803-262-4020. It's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Sure. From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's.
What's that? Bill back. All right. Yeah, Stephen, but what about when they were playing well, man? The Final Four run, and then when they were going into the season a couple of years ago? I disagree. When you go to the NCAA tournament as infrequently as South Carolina basketball does, I don't describe that as gloom and doom. I describe that as frustrating.
No, I think he's right. I think Steven's right. The fan base does go. We hear him go over the top a lot, sometimes for good reason, sometimes for not. But the fan base does tend to absolutely overreact. I mean, it's just like the guy who texted us earlier, talking about the base of Kingston. How did he phrase it? Kingston will take his analytics and go somewhere else.
Right. Great last text there from Ryan. I like that one. I need to do that right now.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. There you go, Tim. What Travis is saying. That's what was it? Soda City Mark wants us to cover some girl stuff. We can cover Travis's
What can we cover? Go out on it? Sorry, I'm trying to do some other work here.
What Travis on the live stream said, and Soda City Mark was saying we need to cover more girl stuff. And we can cover that.
No, thank you. Is that a high school girls basketball game? Is it softball? Surely they're not still playing basketball there.
Has anybody else gotten into this doggy coin on the cryptocurrency?
It's not Doge.
I thought it was doggy, but it might be Doge. I don't know because it's got I think it's got a picture of a doggy on it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got no idea what I've seen it on my social media stuff, but I got
know
no.
anything.
And how much more time do we have in the break here?
Minute 45.
All right, I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. Can you play Montario Hardesty's comment coming into straight into the break or straight out of the break?
Yep.
Every silver lining has a cloud. Oh, what is Tim correct about Mark? Oh, don't give him any ammo.
Ooh. Check out about that. The Indiana game sounds fun. The girls
Yeah,
game.
good times. Oh, doggy. Is it Doge? I thought it was dog. I don't know. I read an article on it.
Dang.
Did he tweet it, Mark? Did he tweet about it? He tweeted about it a while back, but it was like 12 cents the other day. Yeah, I've read about it. I was gonna buy $3 worth of it the other day. That'd have been 25. It was 12 cents.
Carry the one. Yeah,
I would have made $5. That makes me feel better about it. Like I don't trust that kind of stuff, and I still use Robinhood for like small things, just to kind of mess around. To me, I use Robinhood the same way I use kind of like gambling stuff. Like
We're going back
I
in.
don't know if I trust it or not. I don't know if I trust getting my money back, so I don't have a whole lot in there.
Right.
I would only make $5. I don't feel bad because I was gonna buy like $3 of it just to see what happened. All right.
I'm playing Hardesty stuff. It's about a minute.
Plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Honestly, it's a grown man offense, NFL style. If you look at our installs, man, it's things that are running in the NFL. It's timing. Is dual quarterback. Is the running back. You got to know outside, inside. You got to pick up protection. We're picking up listen safeties, listen corners, all those different things. Multiple. As a tailback, we've been spread out. We're moving all over the field. We're shifting. We're emotional. So I'm liking it. I think we'll have to. I mean, we'll have to. We everything in the playbook and just kind of scale it down to game plan specifically for each team. But I think very, very multiple, very dynamic. I think we're gonna also I think the big part about it, we're always ready to adjust. Stop our stuff. We have something off that. So I really enjoy how the guys are picking it up, and I'm enjoying to see how multiple it is and how we always got an answer for what you have.
Montario Hardesty, the Gamecocks running backs coach. Jen's impressed. She's nodding her head. She gets it. She got that's more than a glimpse inside the offense, Bill. I feel like that is like cracking open the playbook, saying, here you go. Here's what we're doing in spring ball. But also, it kind of shows me how silly us evaluating coaches, especially this time of year from a college football standpoint, is that's what an offensive playbook is supposed to do, right? You're supposed to have a bunch of different ways to attack a defense, and if they do one thing, you do the other, but it comes down to a matter of whether you can execute it.
We'll get into it next week, a week from today, maybe even later in the week. Like, obviously, the news yesterday that the attendance, the capacity for the spring game has increased to 15,000 from 9,000. But I will be interested when we ask the question, Tim, what do fans think they're going to see? Not what do you hope, but what do you think you're going to see from this offense? Because this is like that. I'm sure it's out there, and I'm sure Patrick could go and find it the way he watches NFL draft film of a prospect from some school I've never heard of. But we don't know what a Marcus Satterfield offense really looks like. Like, I haven't been able to really go back and look at Tennessee Tech or wherever else he's been. And so the concept of what this offense is going to look like, we're hearing two backs from the field. Well, is that the quarterback in the shotgun with two running backs on either side of him? Is it that pistol formation that we've seen with the guy behind him and a fullback to his left and another running back to his right? Are they going under center more? So I asked that just like there's so many things that we don't know what this is going to look like. Because you're right, I hear Montario Hardesty talking about it. It's like, well, we could throw it downfield, we could throw it short, we could run it left, we could run it right. We might run it up the middle. We can throw a swing pass or we can throw a slant. Like, it's everything that I've ever heard that an offense is, and I'm still not sure what it looks like. And on top of all of that, we want to see the development of Luke Doty as a quarterback. And so I instead of saying, what do you hope you see next Saturday, I think the question is, what do you think you'll see? Do you think you'll see a vanilla offense that maybe is holding some things back because they've had 14 practices and this is going to be opponents will, whether it's Eastern Illinois or East Carolina, they'll be able to get some film on you. They'll be able to pull it from the SEC Network Plus broadcast. They'll be able to look at some things that you actually do, some formations. I think it was Justin Stepp, Tim, a couple weeks ago, or it might have been a wide receiver. I can't remember if it was Justin Stepp or a wide receiver, but it was talking about they're doing a lot of things out of a bunch formation with the wide receivers. And then we took that, and it was Patrick talking about which wide receiver for LSU. Was it Justin Jefferson that played a certain position in their bunch formations, which helped him rack up a bunch of stats? So, like, we're hearing about bunch formations. We're hearing about tight ends being involved. We're hearing about two running backs on the field. Like, I jokingly say this, but are they playing with 14 offensive guys? Is it just you throw it like – so there's so many different concepts and things we're hearing about this offense that I think when we get toward next week and we start talking about the spring game and this coaching staff and what do you hope to see versus what do you think you'll see, just what they're doing offensively is going to be the most interesting thing to me that I'll watch when we're there doing the broadcast.
It's fascinating because what I just heard is that they're trying everything, man. They've got it all out there. Marcus Satterfield told us. He's like, we're going to throw it all out there, see what happens. Where this coaching staff will determine its success or lack thereof in year number one is what they determine is what they do best, and then how it's executed. Because how many times did we see Gamecock defensive players, especially in the last few years, they were in position to make plays, they just didn't. And that is, you can say that's coaching, I guess, but I mean, coaching puts you in the position. Now you got to make sure that the guy in that position can make the play, and that didn't happen. But there's so many different factors in there. I feel like we're going to write the narrative. We're going to kind of come back on the other side of that thing and write the narrative unfairly. If it goes well, then it's just great coaching and probably not give the players enough credit for executing. If it doesn't go well, then the coaches don't know what the heck they're doing. Clearly, there is a lot that's going into this thing. Also, that part about the NFL and installing things and having a bunch of – if it doesn't work, we're going to say, hey, this offense doesn't have an identity. That's been the issue the last few years, right? They don't have an identity, and they need to do the things that they're good at and get rid of everything else and narrow it down. Or if it goes well, like, hey, clearly these guys, they know what they're doing, and these are just smarter coaches.
Well, and there's a part to what you're saying that, to me, I don't know if everybody feels this way, but to me is a little terrifying. You're like, we're going to be able to do a million different things, and then the week of the game, we'll narrow down what the other team does bad, and we'll pick and choose from our playbook to run those plays. And I'm like, oh, it's not, personally, that's not really what I want to hear. Like, I want you to go into a game plan like, this is what we do well, and it's the opponent's job to stop what we do well. South Carolina's going to, we think, we're talking about basketball and the expectations for the last few years. I think we both know that heading into next year, the expectation is for the running backs and the run game to be really good. And if we get to December and those two guys haven't combined for 1,500 yards, does that seem fair? 1,500 yards? Everybody's going to say, man, the media built them up and they hyped them up and they were a bust. They let us down. But that's the way it's probably going to be, I think, is that the hype for the running game, which should be the strength, is going to be there. And if South Carolina doesn't go out and run the ball effectively, which is what they should do, then a lot of people are going to be upset.
I feel like you'll rewrite maybe the Mike Bobo era. Like, man, that guy, what an offensive coordinator. He could scheme up the run like nobody else, right? If you don't get anywhere close to that kind of production this year from a guy who went for more than 1,000 yards last year, it's going to be fascinating no matter what. This question also fascinates me from the Cool Care Heating and Air text line from Jim. Jim says, do you think Shane Beamer will get 4 or 5 years to get things going, or do you think the fan base is only going to give him a couple of years to start achieving? I think the question will be, how do you define get things going and start achieving? It's kind of like, I think, what Frank Martin was coming about when things are going good. Well, from a coach's standpoint, things are going good is different, I think, than the fan base translate things are going good. And the same way with achieving and get things going there.
I have a much easier answer for that. And it goes back to something we talked about and that I've just, since the golf tournament on Monday, the Lexington County Gamecock Club golf tournament that was at the Country Club of Lexington, Dave Odom probably, you would agree with this, Tim, Dave Odom probably got a year or two extra than maybe he deserved because he was well liked, right? He was personable, he was talkative, he got out in the community, he did things, and he was well liked, right?
Okay.
If Shane Beamer continues to do those things, because I honestly think if Will Muschamp had been more personable with the fan base, maybe to a lesser extent.
I don't like the analogy. I see what you're saying. You're saying just because Frank Beamer can inspire you and come away from a press conference, you're like, sorry, did I say Frank? Sorry. Shane Beamer, yes, is a likable guy, but he has no track record as a head coach. And if the only foundation to his coaching tenure is not getting it done, then that goes away real quick, man. Dave Odom was a Final Four coach coming to Carolina. He had the ACC pedigree. He had been there.
Where was Dave? When did Dave Odom get to the Final Four?
With Tim Duncan back in the day. One time.
No.
They never read to the Final Four? It was Elite Eight?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
I'm going to double check that right now.
I'll go hop in the lake.
All right.
With the snake?
Saw a smaller one yesterday. Wake Forest made the Final Four in 1962.
Okay, thank you. 89 is when Dave Odom got there. Okay, my bad on this. But my point was, he had the Tim Duncan story attached to him at least. That gave him
let me
a lot more than other coaches.
I will say this: there has to be some level of success. You're right; he can't have 4 consecutive 4-8 seasons. I'm totally with you on that. There has to be some level of success. Like to get to year 5, there has to be, what do you think, 2 bowl games? They can be bad bowl games, but there's got to be 2 bowl games. What do you think to get to year 5?
Okay, that would be
like 4 losing,
2 out of 4 straight. I don't know.
4 straight losing seasons is not going to cut it.
Oh, no
we
doubt.
both agree on that.
Yep.
Okay, 4 straight losing seasons will not cut it. But in 4 years, I think I think 2 bowl games, because if you say, well, he doesn't make one this year, and you might be right. You might, now as I say it all out loud, maybe you are right. I don't know. That's a conversation maybe we get into next week about what is your expectation for the first 4 years of the Shane Beamer tenure. What gets him year 5? Maybe that's more of a conversation for next week as we go toward the first spring game.
Justin hits us up, Cool Care Heating and Air text line. What kind of winning foundation did Will Muschamp have, Tim? He was a total failure, in my opinion. Bill's comparison is spot on. Well, that was going to be my point, is that Dave Odom had more of a winning foundation. Will Muschamp didn't. He had the opposite reputation coming in, that a lot of fans didn't even want him hired as the head coach. And they went with the logic that if you failed at Florida, how you going to succeed at South Carolina? And obviously that logic turned out to be pretty spot on. And I don't think he had the benefit of the doubt. I do think Dave Odom did. Elite Eight back in '96. My bad, not Final Four. Good call. Thanks for keeping me straight, Bill.
Scared me. That water, it's windy out there, and I put myself on the spot with that, but I was pretty. That was one of those moments where you're like, you just double down. You're like, all right, I'm all in on this, and I saw it back because I know the water's cold and it's windy out there, and there is a snake swimming around out there somewhere.
And you've emerged victorious now. You don't have to jump in the lake unless you want to pay off a bet from years ago.
Patrick's not here today.
Final break of the week. Dramatic conclusion of the show coming up. Let you hear one more final comment from Frank Martin yesterday, and a bunch more of you have reacted to where Gamecock basketball is, what you heard yesterday, and where things are moving. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game is on everywhere. On the air, online, on your phone or tablet, on the app, Alexa, in the shower with you.
Temperatures are on the rise, not this week.
Going to be here before you know it. You know how it works with the heat and air, with summer and winter around here. You blink and we're into summer. You blink, we're into winter. There's really no fall or no spring. We just go straight from summer to winter, back from winter to summer. That means you better have your heating and air unit working. I use AAA heating and air. Roy and Dana treat me like family. They'll treat you like family. That's important to me. Somebody that I know personally, somebody that I know will help me if I have questions or concerns, or if they come out and something isn't quite right, they'll come right back out and fix it. With AAA Heating and Air, you can trust them. Again, a family-run business, they are there to help you, because if your heating and air unit isn't working, nobody in your house is happy with you. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. Here's what you need to do. Just get them out there, have them check and inspect your unit. Again, Columbia summer's on the way, going to be super hot. Want to make sure that air conditioner is working. Have them inspect the unit. Now you're thinking, man, what if they find something wrong? Don't worry. AAA Heating and Air, I told you, family-run business. They're there to help you. They'll pay you $1,500 to take your old unit away. That's right, $1,500 savings just to take your old unit away. Then they'll offer you 0% financing and no money down on a brand new unit. That's treating you like family. That's why AAA Heating and Air is the people I call when there's an issue. I don't want the kids being too hot during the summer or too cold during the winter. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. That's AAA Heating and Air. Give them a call and tell them Bill Gunner sent you. What do you think? What do you think, Mark? Do we take, is it Dogecoin at 31 cents, or do we wait and see what the market does off the bat? I feel like it's going to go down early. And then maybe around lunchtime is the time to jump in. That's my uneducated financial investment advice. Totally uneducated. Ooh, TG Therapeutics jumped up. I'm pretty big into TG Therapeutics. Oh. Only way to go. I'm fully invested with 550. I might put $10 into it, get roughly 31 units. Bitcoin's over 60,000. I don't understand cryptocurrency. I can't. I've tried to read on it. I've tried to understand it. Can't.
Me neither.
I've tried. I gave them all. Gave it my all. I'm trying to learn to be more patient with investing. I get like if I don't see money, if I don't see it going up, I pull the plug way too quick.
Yeah. No, you gotta have some patience.
That makes me feel a little better, Mark. I'm with you, Bill. I feel like this is my old man moment, or like my parents dealing with computers or cell phones. Like, I just don't understand it. That's how I am with cryptocurrency and the blockchain. And what are you talking about?
I was wondering, did that guy ever? You remember the guy who was down to one password for all the Bitcoin?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if he got that figured out.
I'm guessing not.
That's man. Can you imagine?
Well, Mark, can you buy Bitcoin or Dogecoin at any time, or is it like the market? You have to wait for it to open. There's a question I don't know. Like the market opens in 45 minutes. Do you have to wait for the market to open at 9:30, or? I guess you went ahead and bought it, so.
No idea. About 2.5 minutes left.
All right, 2.5 years. So it's 24 hours a day, so you can just buy at any point, huh?
Wow. That's crazy too.
I'm with you. I'll join you. I'll go in. It's up to 32 cents.
That's my budget. 32 cents. I'm good with that.
Oh, Bitcoin's falling. Everybody race to your Robinhood accounts. Okay. $4 of Dogecoin.
I think it's Doge.
Whatever, man. Doge.
Jen, can you check File Manager real quick and make sure that a few spots just got in on NKT in the spots folder there? 50 should be the last three numbers. Now, this is really inside baseball if you want to get into radio stuff.
Yeah, 50, 51, and 52 are there.
Okay, thank you. That's all I need.
I had an issue where I could not, when I put the sports flash into the system, into File Manager, when I transferred it over in OpEx, it did not play. It acted like it wasn't there.
That's weird.
So I'm hoping that doesn't happen here. All right, heading back in. Is there some audio that you would like?
Yeah, let's give Frank the last word there, whatever you would like to play.
I grew up in an era where you don't call in sick. I grew up in an era where you answer the bell. I grew up in an era where you got hurt on the field, you didn't lay down. Even if you had no idea what your name was, you figured out a way to get a sideline, and then you fell down on the sideline and you're so no one knew that you were hurt. That's where I grew up. Okay, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you who I am. And then lastly, I couldn't tell anybody how beat up I was. Because if I did, my mother would have died in her house in Miami worrying about me. I couldn't do that. Keep it away from people so she didn't worry. I feel great now.
Frank Martin, part of yesterday's certainly all-encompassing, pretty emotional press conference for a lot of different ways. I feel like what we just heard, Bill, is kind of that greatest strength can be your greatest weakness kind of deal where without having that mindset, Frank Martin would have gotten the Gamecocks to the Final Four. But also maybe last year wouldn't have been 6-15. But you get what you get with coaches, kind of like Dawn Staley saying when she gets into it with a convenience store clerk about a lottery ticket, she wishes maybe she didn't have that chip on her shoulder all the time. But that's also what has driven her to be probably the most successful women's basketball player / coach in history. And it does give us, I think, a little bit more of an insight into at least how Frank Martin approached things, maybe that we didn't have before yesterday's press conference. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think, again, we'll see a lot. This will be a year process. We'll sit here next year and we'll grade and we'll analyze how all this went down. I think today's April 16th. Is it as simple as pass fail? I don't know. And to say it gives you insight into him, that is as strong a voice. And it sounds weird to say, but we all hear this when people aren't feeling good. Maybe the voice sounds a little off. You sound a little down. I will say this for Frank. Yesterday sounds as strong vocally as I've heard him in the last 7 months. Now, does that mean they're going to win basketball games? I have zero clue. I don't know what this roster talent-wise is going to look like. But it does sound like a guy who is determined to prove a lot of people wrong. And I will say this, Frank Martin's background, that guy spent most of his life trying to prove people wrong. And I feel like I honestly feels like right now he wants to prove somebody, the fan base, the administration, the college basketball world, that last year was a failure. I don't think you're going to get a coach that is more dedicated to having a great season than Frank Martin right now. Because when I hear him talk, I hear a guy who is angry at himself, is angry maybe at the media a little bit for how he's been covered. I think you're going to get a very dedicated guy for the next 12 months.
I'll go with extra motivated Frank Martin rolling into the 2021-2022 season. Hey, just want to give you the heads up. Stick with us here in the next few minutes. You'll hear the secret keyword for 25K Workday Payday that we do every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Gives you a chance to qualify to win $100 and
30.
Entered into the grand prize jackpot drawing for $25,000. That's texting the hourly keyword to 95819. Go to 1075thegame.com. Check out Grill Bill if you want to get into that. We'll have a Monday session on Grill Bill again, and the Hot Take Hotline is always open. Sponsored by Twin Peaks. For the men who never settle, go see them down in the Vista at 600 Gervais Street. That's 978-6654. The Hot Take Hotline. Bill, it was fun this week.
It's been a great week.
WNK from Eastover, Columbia. Total coverage. Right here. 107.5 The Game.
All right, that's that, huh? Sorry, I got to click you there. There you go. What was that?
I said, Hope says we got to 726. I said, good job. We got two more.
Dominated.
We got to. I think what we need is one big. We have to coordinate everybody around. What do you think? What do you think is the best Twitter time? People get to the office and check Twitter. 8 a.m., 7 a.m.
Yeah, man.
That's true, Mark. This Dogecoin or whatever takes off over the weekend. I'll just have dollar bills back behind me. I'll just staple them to the wall.
Perfect.
There you go, Joseph. Go Citadel. Beat VMI.
Big weekend. Yeah, the Gamecock baseball discussion will be interesting come Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it will.
Very hopeful.
Other than that, I don't know what we'll talk about Monday, but we'll figure something out.
Please let there be draft talk.
Little Harbor Town.
Oh, yeah. Little Harbor Town. We'll have plenty to get into. Weather looks iffy. Yeah, I saw you saying that earlier. We'll see. We'll see. I'm sure the good news is you got 3 days to get 2 games in.
I'm going to jump on at noon with Patrick and Preston today, so we might have a live stream version of that as well. We'll see. Want to give you guys the heads up on that.
That'll boost the numbers.
There you go.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll get those noon YouTube subscribers in.
See?
All right.
All right.
checking us out this morning and this week. We'll talk to you on Monday. DC, all 3 hours again. Strong, sir. Strong. Weather looking iffy. Hope says. Okay, we'll see. Hooray, she says.